now. What's up, guys, and welcome to the first ever episode of a Doom YouTube channel podcast. I'm super excited. I've got Johnny here with me, and we're going to discuss... Yes, sorry, I interrupted you there.
It's all good.
Yeah. We're going to just kick off and discuss the Dark Ages. This could go on for 3 hours, or it could last half an hour. We'll wait and see. But yeah, so Johnny, what do you think to Doom the Dark Ages?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of drama going on, man, for the past couple weeks. Like, I never thought that there would be more controversy with a Doom game than Doom Eternal, but here we are.
Right.
I thought, personally, it's in my top 5 of all-time favorite games.
Okay.
Not only is it my favorite Doom game, it's in my top 5 of favorite games of all time. I've beaten it 3 or 4 times now.
4 times?
And yeah, it's, you know, like, it's certainly not a perfect game, but what game is, you know? Like, is there... I don't think that exists.
Yeah.
But I had a blast with it, and I think they've really created something new and fresh here, and I think it's going to take a part of the world a little bit of time to really appreciate it.
Yeah, I've not really seen much of the drama you were talking about, because my first playthrough, it took me a while, because when I do a first playthrough of a game that I've been waiting 5 years for, I basically play it like an IGN reviewer. So I go around, I'm looking for Easter eggs, I'm basically admiring all the artwork, you know, I'm getting an idea of how much work went into the game. So it took me a while to kind of beat the game, so I ignored all the drama. But what's been going on then? What's, like, you were telling me, like, Twitter's been popping off or something?
Oh God, just people complaining about everything, and I seriously doubt that a lot of the people bitching about it have even played through the game. That's the really weird thing about it. Literally, I got into a Twitter argument with someone who was complaining about how, you know, how sometimes when you finish a mission, there's a bug that plays where it, like, sends you out of the mission and sends you back to the main menu. Have you ever had that happen?
Nope.
Well, there's a weird bug that happens. It doesn't happen all the time. It happens every once in a while, where you'll finish a mission and you get sent out to the main menu, and you have to go back into the thing and select the mission. And this guy was going on and on about how it ruined his experience, the fact that he had to do this one time, and it turned into this big Twitter argument and all this silliness, and, like, that's just a small taste of the things that people have been complaining about with this game. I think for the... Sorry, what?
No, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, like, for the past 2 weeks this game has been out, it's like, I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone where I played a different game.
Yeah, so what I don't understand...
Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
I don't understand because... Alright, so, quick backstory. When I got Doom Eternal, back in 2020 during lockdown, I wasn't a huge gamer at the time. So I just played the game, I had a blast, I didn't really check any of the drama. So I was shocked when the Dark Ages came out, and as you know, I've been super active since it's come out, and I've been, like, hardcore in the community. And I just don't understand what all the hate's about. It literally baffles me, because I played the game, I thought it was amazing, I had a fucking awesome time, right? And I wasn't looking forward to it. I was kind of worried. I was dubious. I was like, oh, this medieval theme, I don't know. I played it. I was like, holy shit, that was incredible. And I just don't understand all this hate. It's baffling me.
Well, yeah, I think it's definitely a multifaceted thing where there were people on PC that didn't buy it because they didn't have any kind of RX card, which is like really, isn't it the point of getting on PC that you have the latest and greatest tech? Like, in 2025, there's that many people that don't have a ray tracing graphics card?
Right, so a lot of people bought her that they can't play it.
Is that the case?
Yeah. Just a second. Mimical says hi. Hi, Mimical.
What up?
So Johnny is. You've probably met Johnny before. He logs. He not logs in. He views quite a lot of my streams. You've seen him in chat before. And he has his own Twitch channel and his streams on there, which I'll link in the description when this is over. By the way.
Oh, it's all good, man. Appreciate it.
But yeah, thanks for joining the stream, Mimical. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, so I'm guessing a lot of guys are butthurt that they can't run the game because the PC's not powerful enough. And a lot of guys... A lot of guys had trouble playing the game due to technical issues. But here's what I don't get. That's a technical issue. That's not the game itself. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, well, hasn't ray tracing cards, like, hasn't that been around for a couple years now? I mean, this isn't some brand new tech.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, I had a 3090 up until about a week ago when I switched to a 5090. And my PC, I sourced the parts from all over the place, some secondhand, some new, and I had a 3090 in that thing. And I think the total cost was about 2,000. And
Wow.
I got the Dark Ages before I got the 5090, and I had that on max settings, and the 3090 played that without any problem at all. And that's a 4 or 5 year old card now.
Right.
So these people must be using tech from like 10 fucking years ago, and that just isn't going to work on PC. You know,
it doesn't make any sense to me, because I thought the whole idea of getting into PC as a hobby is that you're going to spend the money on the latest GPUs and CPUs and all that good stuff. Like, literally, id Software was able to get this game running on an Xbox Series S,
yeah,
which is just about almost the same hardware as like a PS4.
yeah,
Like, it's a little bit better than that. It's a little better than that, but somehow they were able to get 60 frames a second on that.
wow,
So I really find it hard to believe that there's so many PC guys that don't have a PC that's capable of running this. It's like,
I don't know.
One, stop being poor, guys. Okay. Kidding.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, Mimical will understand this because he's a younger guy. He's still at high school or whatever. But
well, that makes more sense than if they're really young.
Right. But even at that age, if I wanted something bad enough, I would work my ass off in a summer job or some bullshit job, you know, like that isn't enjoyable. But you want the PC, you got to get the money, bro. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people in the PC gaming community that are kind of the victim mentality. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I did complain about the collector's edition arriving late because I was waiting to play the game and I had early access included with that, and I did whine about that, I admit that. But that was out of my control. You know? That was out of my control. So...
Yeah, but that was something that was worth bitching about, because you were supposed to get that on a certain date and you got it like a week later, right?
Yeah, we got it a week after the official release date, not the early release date. It arrived. Yeah. It arrived with damage. The steelbook was damaged, so I had to.
Oh my god!
I had to fix that, and the early access was pointless. On top of that, I got taxed like $100, so I had to claim that back from Bethesda. Yeah. So
brutal.
So that was out of my control. Okay, I understand like some whining, like stuff like that, but the whole stuff about it can't run on my PC, like you know, they gave the system requirements out. Was it like a year ago? Like the minimum system requirements was like a year ago, and I remember and I looked at it and it said like 4080, and I thought, well, I got a 3090, so it'll probably work. But I was gobsmacked by how fast it ran on my 3090. Like, admittedly,
I just think this whole thing is funny because this is the third entry in the modern Doom series, whereas Doom 3 was also the same kind of thing. When Doom 3 first came out on PC, it introduced a lot of like new tech stuff, and a lot of people didn't have a PC
Mm.
that was strong enough to run that game as well. So I think that's interesting.
That is interesting because I'm old enough that I actually bought that game on launch. It was actually a gift from my girl,
PC.
Doom 3. It was a gift from my
Yeah,
girlfriend back then, and I got the big box. You remember the big boxes? And I played that on the family computer, and it ran well.
Oh, really?
It was not a gaming PC. It was above average family PC because obviously I put a graphics card in there, but but
Yeah.
it was not a high end PC, and it ran just fine. So
That's good because we had a horrible family PC when I was a kid.
yeah, yeah.
I remember picking up Quake 2, and it would just crash constantly trying to play that shit on there.
Okay.
But yeah, going back to Doom 3, I mean, it was kind of the same thing where people were really upset at the time that, oh, I can't even play it because I don't have a PC that's powerful enough. So I just think it's funny how each third entry in the Doom series is always like some kind of
It's cursed.
like a technological leap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say that even looking at the Dark Ages, I mean, it's one of those games where it's not it doesn't like look immediately so much better than Doom Eternal. It's like more in the physics engine because I recently, a couple nights ago, I tried to play Doom Eternal. I tried to go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty jarring actually because I got so used to being able to destroy so much
Hi,
that's in
Caitlin.
the environment.
Mm-hmm.
I got so used to the high enemy count that's in the Dark Ages that when I went to Doom Eternal, it just, don't get me wrong, it's still a great game, but it felt very, I don't really know the word. Have you tried to play Doom Eternal
Yeah.
since the Dark Ages came out?
So my biggest shock when I went back to Eternal with the 5090 to test the 5090 on Doom Eternal was it looked even better than it did. And I can now record in 4K without the screen tear, and it looks phenomenal.
Oh,
But
nice.
what the biggest shock for me was how slow you are in that game.
Yeah.
You're fucking slow as I'm not going to say shit like because, it's an awesome game, but compared to the Dark Ages, you're super slow. You've got your dash, but when you're not using your dash, it's like you're walking around almost. And I just can't believe that people would complain that the Dark Ages is slow. I'm like, slow? If you watch my first stream on the first level, the first thing I said was, holy shit! I'm like fast, bro. I'm like so fast. And
Right.
that's what I love about the Dark Ages is you're like I can't remember what word I described. It's not a tank because the tank's slow, but it's like a human wrecking ball.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
It's like Captain America, but 10 times cooler and 10 times more badass. Because you can run around, you feel really light, but when you drop down onto enemies, like the heaviness like impacts the environment a lot. You're very
Yeah, that boom.
agile. Yeah. Super agile, but also
that.
super like deadly. It's like, to me, it's perfect what they did with the feel of the game here. I don't understand people complaining about that.
I would recommend to anyone that when you first start playing the game, set your FOV to at least 120 and set auto sprint to on, and you will not, you don't even have to mess with the game speed. The game is already incredibly fast that way.
Yeah. So some people might not know, but for my first Ultraviolence playthrough, and for a lot of the boss fights, some of which I did on Nightmare without damage, like, big deal, that's not hard. But I didn't know about auto run. So I did all that without auto run on, and then I put auto run on, and I was like, okay, I didn't complain about the speed before auto run. If you complain about the speed after auto run, then there's something wrong with you. Like, it's so fast.
Yeah, and I don't understand why they didn't make that the default. Like, I don't know why that they thought that you'd want to hold a button to run. It's just strange to me.
Well, okay, so in Call of Duty, if you want to sprint, you press dash. And also in the original Doom games, auto run was not enabled by default. So
That's a good point. Yeah.
you've got to remember that a lot of the choices in Dark Ages were taken from the original Doom game. So one thing that annoys me in this game is I'll do a boss fight, or you'll do a boss fight, whoever, and I'll just use the best gun for the job. I'll use one gun. And then the comments, some people will comment like, oh, what, you can't beat the boss with more than one gun? And I was like, did you ever play the original Doom? Like, seriously, like, you could use one gun for the whole fucking game if you wanted to. and they were going back to more of the original feel with this game. And yes, it's different. You can't quick switch and hot swap and all that stuff, and you're not flying around in the air with your meat hook. But you're kicking ass in a different way with your shield bashers, which is insanely fast, way faster than the meat hook ever was. And, you know, you're running jumps and stuff like that. And I don't know, man. I feel like the movement on this game is very, very in line with the original Doom games, with when you've got run turned on, obviously. You know, it's super fast. It's a classic feel. Weapon swaps in the original games were slow. If you remember Doom 1, 2, Doom 3, like, I wouldn't say they're like they're slow in this game. They're just not stupidly fast.
Well, if you listen to any of the interviews with Hugo, even before the game came out, I mean, you could tell in their language that they were trying to move away from all the quick swapping stuff.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think as much as guys like us love that aspect of it, I think it turned off a lot of players in, you know, the Eternal scene, you know, because they don't want to do all that, you know, because like if you look at Doom Eternal, it can be a very complicated game where you're pressing all these different buttons, and you know, it can be overwhelming. So they really went out of their way with the Dark Ages to make it more of a simplified
accessible
combat system.
So the trouble with Doom Eternal and all the quick swapping and stuff is, in order to get to that level, you have to put, and I'm not exaggerating, it depends on your talent, your natural talent, but like maybe like 250 hours in to finally start to get that stuff down. How many people do you think want to come to the Dark Ages and commit 250 hours to a game? Like, only the diehard fans and people like us want to put that many hours into it. Most people want to play casual. Right. So it kind of alienates people sometimes. Like, I'm not complaining about Eternal, by the way. I love Eternal. But it can alienate a lot of the players who don't have who don't want to put that much into the game to get good at it. If you see what I mean.
And right. And the other thing about the quick switching in Eternal is, like, I think that's only a small part of what makes you a skilled player in that game. I think there's so many other things that you have to worry about. You know, your resource management, you know, you're getting armor back and your ammo back and using the right weapons in the right situation. I mean, your awareness, all of that kind of stuff is a lot more important than how fast you can quick switch.
Right.
Like, well, when I think of the quick switching, I think of it more of like just like a professional thing that you do once you've mastered the game, but you don't even have to do it to be really skilled at that game.
No, the quick switching only really comes into play, like, for example, if you want to beat the game in Ultra Nightmare, if you want to beat the master levels on Ultra Nightmare, quick switching is not essential at all. How do I know that?
No.
Because I saw a bunch of guys do it. And I saw a bunch of guys do it with the quick swapping method, and they both succeeded in the task of beating the level. Did one look cooler than the other? That depends on your style of play. Like, admittedly, the hot swapping looks cooler, flying in the air. It's more entertaining. Absolutely not necessary.
Right.
So, while I enjoy quick swapping in Eternal, and I absolutely love it, it's only really important in the multiplayer game. Because in the multiplayer game, if you don't play multiplayer, do you? But if you're playing against two great demons and you're not quick swapping, you're dead. That's it. You're dead.
This is really crazy to say, but I put over 1,000 hours into Doom Eternal. I never tried battle mode once.
It's a
Never once.
super high skill ceiling. Like I said, if you're playing against two good demons and you're a Slayer, you've got lag to contend with. And by the way, I'm not saying that to whine about it. Lag's a part of internet. I understand that, but the fact is, when you press fire, there's a slight delay now, whereas on single player there is no delay. Okay, but once you get used to that, you don't get much ammo. So you have to quick swap so that you're spreading your ammunition apart to take out the demons fast. Whilst you can do well, if you're like one of the world class players, you can do well without hot swapping on multiplayer as well. To get there takes about 500 plus hours. So anyway, the point here is hot swapping is cool, but I understand why they took it out of the Dark Ages, because it made it more accessible to the people who were intimidated by that. You know? Because to some people, like we pick stuff up quite naturally because we've had a lot of experience, but to some people, hot swapping is almost impossible.
Well, yeah, I would almost argue there's many times while playing the Dark Ages where you feel like you almost get punished for trying to switch weapons in the middle of a fight.
You do.
I feel like that they almost wanted you to maintain maybe one or two weapons in a certain fight and just get used to those two weapons. Because I think that Eternal was more of like a game where they wanted you to use all the weapons, right? Like they wanted you to experiment with all of them. Whereas I think with the Dark Ages, it's more of pick two weapons that complement each other well, almost like a combo system, if that makes any sense. Like finding the two weapons that go really well together, finding the shield rune. Like finding the appropriate shield rune that mixes well with those two weapons, because there's so many different combinations that you can mess around with. Like for instance, like there's crazy ones where you can, if you select the turret for your shield rune, which gives you health back, and you use the combat shotgun, that means you're constantly funneling armor and health back to you. Like as long as you're hitting your parries, you're constantly getting health back, and if you're using the combat shotgun, you're constantly lighting demons on fire and getting armor back. Yeah, so like there's little stuff like that where you can just use different combinations of things that really make the combat dynamic, and which I honestly think that's more interesting than all the quick swapping stuff.
Yes,
personally.
I agree, because if I want quick swapping, I'll play Doom Eternal. That game is timeless, ageless. If I want a quick swap, I can go and play Doom Eternal. I did not want to do that in Doom the Dark Ages. I wanted to do something different, which they did, and they did a great fucking job. So I'm quite an analytical person. So with Doom Eternal, I played the multiplayer for quite a while, and then I analysed as a Slayer what three key areas would make you successful. And now with live, I'm obviously going to forget them, but it was movement, ammunition and weapons, and there was something else, restacking. So when I'm talking ammunition and weapons, I'm talking like which weapon to use at what point, and your aim. Okay, so overall weapon stuff. Restacking, so getting your health and armor back, and movement. If you mastered those three areas, you would dominate. And it's similar in the Dark Ages, I find. And they kind of came up with this concept of the power triangle. And it's like you said, two weapons that you switch between, and then your flail or your mace or your, what do you call the hand one? The gauntlet, power gauntlet.
Right.
So those three things used in the right kind of way can devastate everything if your movement's down. Now I haven't got a complete system for the Dark Ages yet, but I'm getting there. But I think you're right. Switching between two key weapons and at the right moment using your mace, whilst actively parrying, throwing your shield to stun certain enemies when it's safe to do so, and then doing the shield bash also for movement and also to take down revenants, etc. If you combine that all together, if you're not having fun, then I don't know what to tell you, because it doesn't get any more fun than that. It makes you feel like Superman, you know.
I think the first moment for me playing through the game where I realized that this is really something new, unique, and special was the first Siege level,
Yeah.
where that big gate opens up, and they're saying, "Hold the line," and you just drop down into this massive battlefield. It's just like, whoa, this is fucking badass.
Which one was that? Which bit was that?
Siege.
Siege Part 1.
Like, the very start of Siege, where that gate opens up,
Yeah,
and you hear the
that's-
other Sentinel soldiers yelling,
Yeah.
"Hold the line!"
Yeah.
and you just
Yeah.
jump down into that arena.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit!
Yeah, it doesn't.
And
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's just that was the first moment where it really clicked.
Yeah.
For me personally.
Just a second. Hi, Ophelia. Yes, we can see you in the chat. We're doing great. How are you? And have you
How's it
played Doom
going?
the Dark Ages? Caitlin, you've followed me. Thank you. That's awesome. I will be stopping occasionally to check chat, but I can't obviously respond to chat whilst we're in a debate here.
Yeah, I actually don't have your chat open up here.
Yeah.
So I can't even see it.
It's also hard to tell who's a bot and who isn't, and I don't want to waste time responding to bots, But
It's all good.
yeah, Siege Part 1, like, there's not many gaming moments that get better than that. It reminded me, and I feel Doom the Dark Ages took a lot of inspiration from Gears of War, by the way. Like, those little, like, shield cog symbols on the secret areas, and the amount of damage you can do without using ammunition. Like, in Gears of War, you used to, like, bash down doors and shit like that. But that was back in 2006 when I first played that game, and I remember thinking how that was a cult classic, instant cult classic, and it is. And I got that feeling again with Doom Eternal, Doom 2016, and also Doom the Dark Ages, and that was the moment you just described. Because when that door opens, if you've got HDR, it like, holy shit, it lights up the screen, when the sunlight comes through. And the cutscene was amazing, and then when you jump down, I was just like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like, well, such a good job,
Yeah, and this whole feeling of like thinning out the pack in order to take out the main demons, like, it really gives you that feeling of probably the first time where you're actually taking on an entire army of enemies.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas with Doom Eternal, usually it was either like a one-on-one thing with a heavy demon, or it was like a 2 or 3 demons that you had to take out in any given part of the map. But like here, like you said, it's just you're literally fighting an army of demons.
Yeah,
at the same time.
It's a whole battlefield. Whereas in so the Intec 8 engine, in my opinion, the way it differs from the engine in Doom Eternal is, like you just said, it's more of like a huge battlefield, like kind of like Serious Sam. Than kind of, one little encounter, jump around platform, another little encounter, jump around platform, then a boss, And it's so open, so you can go left if you want to, you can go right, you can go straight down the middle, you can leave enemies alive if you want to, like, you can just choose what you want to do. My personal style is to 100% every map and wipe everything off the face of the earth, but, on Nightmare difficulty. But it's a brilliant engine. It's an awesome engine. It's just a shame.
Yeah, and it's...
Go on.
No, sorry, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's just a shame that... well, basically, when any new game launches like this, with a new engine, there's issues, right? Like teething issues. It's just a shame we've got that, especially on PC, but you're always going to have a little bit of that. Even with a maxed out, top-of-the-line PC, with a brand new game, because there's so many different types of hardware you can have on PC, so many different manufacturers, so many millions of combinations you can have, that you're basically a beta tester on the first release. But when they're playtesting the game, they have 300 guys playtesting from what I heard. So it's not like they're lazy. It's just that you can't really test something truly until it's out to millions of people, Well,
yeah, and it's just like, dude, there's somebody in chat.
Gabby, welcome, brother.
Hello.
Yeah, we're talking Doom the Dark Ages.
How's it going, man?
Oh, we're Dark Ages.
Yeah, we're live.
Oh.
Yeah, if you want to chime in, you're more than welcome.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was
Uh-huh.
just saying that there's so much going on with like the physics and everything in this game that I think that's about 5 or 6 months from now, I think we're gonna have a slightly different game. Like I think they're gonna definitely iron things out, and it's gonna feel different than what it is now. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm a bit of a fanboy, I'll admit that, but I'm also honest, you know what I mean? So I don't have an issue with the game in its current state aside from the game breaking bugs. So when I run OBS, it'll often crash when playing Doom of the Dark Ages. I tried it with Eternal, didn't have the same issue. That's the same for everybody. That's not just me. But aside from that,
Yeah, and
I haven't encountered anything that's super unbalanced, really, unless you're playing on the easiest difficulty settings, and apparently the Ravager is just superbly overpowered. But I find it kind of...
I was
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah yeah I was playing it a couple nights ago, and I went 10 minutes without having. I wasn't able to throw my shield for about 10 minutes. I don't know what that is.
So I had that. There's a way to reset it. I can't remember exactly what I did. I shield bashed or something. I can't remember what I did, but I've had that before as well. It didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me unless it was an ultra nightmare. Then I'd be pissed.
Talk about playing the game on ultra hard mode where you can't throw your shield. Holy shit.
Yeah. However, I'm crazy enough that I wouldn't make an excuse out of that because 2 weeks ago, not like yesterday, 2 weeks ago, there's a guy that did a speed run of the game, and I'm pretty sure it's a normal speed run, not one of those where you jump out the map. I'm not a fan of those. And he did it in 3 hours 2 weeks ago with all that, bug stuff going on. But
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
it would be super annoying for anybody who's not a world-class player like that to get to like the last fucking stage and then your shield doesn't work. Oh my god, that'd drive me nuts.
Yeah, so like we were saying at the beginning of this, like I really don't understand fully why there's so many people that do not enjoy this game.
So here's my theory, because I thought about it today, and because we're a bit older, we've got a bit more wisdom, right? I think it's just herd
Absolutely.
mentality, because so when any game comes out, and everybody's on YouTube now pretty much, or TikTok, whatever, instead of thinking, oh, I'll play the game myself and come up with my own opinion, they'll watch their favourite creator play the game, and whatever their favourite creator says, they'll agree. Because if you look at the comments section of the big YouTubers, like the huge ones, like 100,000 plus, or even millions, and the comments is a fucking echo chamber to the point where I genuinely thought, are these all bots that are just like replicating the same message but with a different tone? Because they'll release a video, it'll say like, oh, Doom the Dark Ages, disappointing, for example. And I'll leave a comment that says, personally, I love the game. 99%, and I'm serious like that, I'm not exaggerating, 99% of all the comments are like, yeah, it sucks, dude. And what percentage of those comments do you think actually played the game? I'd say like 10% tops.
Less than that, I
Right.
would say.
So you've got this big fucking farce going on where 90% of people agreeing that a game sucks that they've never even played. And if you haven't tried it, then what the fuck do you know?
Yeah, and I've talked about this before. Right now we're living in this instantaneous reactionary period of gaming where people just, in the first 5 minutes that something has been out, people just make up their mind about something and that's it.
Yeah.
They don't want to play it themselves. They just want to have, like you said, this herd mentality of like in the first 5 minutes, this is what this game is. It's
Yeah.
like they're either going to hate it because it required a RX card or RTX card, or they hate it because of the soundtrack, or they hate it because of this. And it's like we're saying, like a lot of them have not even played the
Yeah.
game, dude.
And here's another issue I'll point out outside of YouTube myself. Now, a great way to get views on YouTube is with the controversy. And a lot of people have channels just about controversy. They're called slop channels, right? Now, if something is true, like when my collector's edition was delayed, I made a video about it, and it got quite a few views for my channel, because I've got a small channel, because of the controversy. But that was based on my personal experience, which was true. But some YouTubers are willing to sacrifice their own true opinion to make up a false statement that brings them more views than if they just said the game's great. Now, I'm not speaking for anyone in particular. You know, I'm not saying, oh, so and so. I'm not going to list names. But I know that a lot of YouTubers will take views over being honest. And I can't do that. I just can't. I just don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think half of it is people being, you know, they're just not being honest and they're just trying to get clicks, like you said. But I think there's also a population of the Doom fan base that they just want the same game over and over again. They
Yeah.
either want classic Doom over again, or they want 2016 to just be repeated over and over again. And it's like, I just don't understand that
Yeah.
mentality of wanting the same game every fucking time. I
I don't
don't get
understand it.
'cause there's only so many times that you can do a, you know, just standard game where you're just walking down a corridor and you're shooting enemies and you're finding key cards. It's like, if that's what you want, dude, like, classic Doom is still available.
Yeah.
There's thousands of mods for classic Doom. Like, why would you want the new Doom game to be like that? To me,
Right.
that sounds incredibly fucking boring.
Yeah.
Incredibly boring.
Yeah, and here's the thing: like when Doom 2016 came out, and the Bethesda did that show, I was like super hyped about that, and I thought at the time I was like 30 years old or whatever, and I thought, is this a bit weird that I'm 30 and I'm this excited about a video game? I was like euphoric. Do you know when he picks up the shotgun off the dead soldier? I was because after Duke Nukem Forever, which was not the best game in the world, waiting all those years for that, and that was disappointment. I was like, oh, they're doing Doom again, but they're doing a good job. So I was like so excited. And Doom 2016, I thought was an amazing game. There were certain things I didn't like, but I didn't feel a need to just, oh, these little things I don't like, I'm just going to talk shit about the game. I didn't feel a need to do that. And if anybody asked me, I would tell them, oh, it was fucking amazing. You know, like, I think that people can be quite nitpicky these days.
Yeah, like, I think when it comes to 2016 was like the song that everybody likes, you know, it's that mainstream song that hits, and, you know, it's like a, I don't know, Enter Sandman or something, you know, it's one of those mainstream songs that everyone likes the first time they hear it.
Right.
You know, it doesn't take a lot of creative chances. It doesn't do anything crazy with the gameplay. It's just this really satisfying experience. I think that's why most people really, you know, you're not going to find too many people that didn't like 2016. You know, it's just that album or that song that hits with everybody.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think when Doom Eternal came out, they just went balls to the wall. Like, from a creative standpoint, from a artistic standpoint, from a gameplay standpoint, they just went all at it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Eternal was such a polarizing experience. And weirdly enough, the Dark Ages is even more polarizing, I think.
Yeah. So when Eternal came out, I wasn't heavy into gaming at the time. But I remember playing it, and this is going to sound super corny, so I apologize. But I remember thinking, this can't be this good. This can't be real. You know, I almost wanted to pinch myself, like, because I like bright neon colors. Doom Guy looks fucking badass in Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
It looks cool in Doom 2016, but with the classic neon green, which is currently my profile picture, the classic Marine uniform, all the neon colors going on, the feel of the game, the super shotgun, the enemies were all on point as well. I mean, it was like, to me, almost the perfect game.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't, like, even now, I can't think of anything where I thought, oh, yeah, that sucks. There's only one little thing I have a niggle about, and that's the same thing in 2016, and that's the zombie soldiers. They, like, charge this thing up and then they fire it at you, whereas I wanted the original, like, Doom soldiers with a shotgun, and they were, like, all black. If you remember, they were, like, all black, and they had, like, blood splats on the shirt. I thought that would have been way more badass, but other than that, all the enemies were like the Arachnotron, the Hell Knights, the Barons of Hell, the Revenants. I thought, oh my god. Like, I was just amazed at how good that game was. To this day, like, I'm still amazed at how good a job they did with that. Because they didn't just put a like, oh yeah, we'll do this much work to get the sales. They like went all, like I said, they went all out. They put so much into that game. And I'll always love id Software for doing that. In a time where you've got EA Sports who just milk you for money, and you know, like all those corporate bullshit games that come out, that are just about money. That's all they're about. And then they released Doom Eternal, and it was about the player. You know, it was about the player's experience, and I was like, wow. I was just amazed.
Yeah, like I think when it comes to Doom Eternal and the Dark Ages, I think what you're gonna get out of it is what you put into the experience.
Right.
And I think that's really what separates them from other games that are in the industry right now, where, you know, most modern games, I feel like they're very derivative of other stuff that came before it, and usually there's like one way to play it basically. And but when it comes to the modern Doom games, I think there's such a feeling of I'm putting my own individuality into this game.
Yeah.
Kind of feeling where I'm doing something as opposed to, oh, I'm just playing a game.
Yeah.
Like when I play the Dark Ages or when I play Doom Eternal, it's like it's almost like this weird freedom of expression within the game's gameplay systems.
It's an art. They made an art of combat. So the way you play the game, it's like an art form that's been expressed. And if you can clear an arena on say Nightmare difficulty and take 0 damage, never miss a flail shot, you know, all your headshots hit. Use a variety of weapons. I know that's more hard on Dark Ages, but at least 2 basically. And you know, have a couple of glory kills that are like showing off, if you know what I mean. And then you do all that together. You've basically got a little movie on your hands.
Right.
It's only 3 minutes long, but it's 3 minutes of epic destruction. And I first realised this on Doom Eternal with the SMVR guy. Pretty much everyone's seen him. And he did like this master level, and at the time I didn't know what master level was. And he was spending more time in the air than he was on the ground because he was a master of the meat hook. And I was like, holy shit, this guy's like the fucking Picasso or the Michelangelo of the Doom world. You know, so that's the beauty of these the 3D games.
Controller user too, by the way.
Yeah, he is. He did play a few. He did play a few on PC. But 99% of his stuff online is controller.
Right.
So, and not only that, so when I first saw that, my first thought was, naturally, skepticism. I was like, nah, there's some cheating going on here or something. Something's going on. And in the menu underneath, it said like, oh, I'm using PS5 controller, here are my controls. And I was like, holy shit. This guy's a god. This guy is basically the Doomslayer. You know, he's the lore accurate Doomslayer, and that's when I truly fell in love with the game. Not like I was already in love with the game, but when I saw that, I was like, the fact that they allowed you to express yourself and give you that much freedom to express yourself, that's what made me addicted to it. That's where I got my like 400 hours in.
Like it's almost like modern. the modern Doom games are almost like, if you think about it from a standpoint of like surfing or skateboarding, where if you watch somebody do it that doesn't know what they're doing, it certainly doesn't look fun at all. Like if you were to watch somebody try to surf, right, and they're just falling on their ass and they're crashing into the waves, you're gonna say to yourself, "Ah, this sport kind of sucks," right?
Right. Yeah.
It seems like it's too hard, blah blah. But when you see someone surf that knows what they're doing, all of a sudden it clicks and it's like, "Whoa, this is fucking cool."
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the same way with Doom Eternal, kind of the same way with the Dark Ages, where if you play it a certain way, if you get into the systems of
Yeah.
what they're trying to push,
Yeah.
that's where the genius comes out. But if you watch someone like DSP play the game, you're gonna think it sucks, right? Like watching him play the game, you're gonna think it fucking sucks
Well,
because of how he's playing it.
yeah. Here's
Yeah,
uh-huh. Go ahead.
that's all I was gonna say.
Here's the thing. It's not that he's playing bad. I'm fine with people who play bad. Okay, I don't look down on anybody who.
He's playing it in a boring way, though. I
Yeah.
guess is the better way to put it.
I don't look down on anybody who's new to Doom, even if they suck, right, or if they're not that good. As long as they're having fun. But if you suck at the game and you're bitching and moaning about the game and you're not having fun on the game, then why the fuck would I want to watch? Like, there's a girl who I watch sometimes who streams Doom Eternal, and then she did Dark Ages, which I didn't watch any of it because I didn't want to spoil. But, you know, you can see she's new to the game, but she's having so much fun, like, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's enjoyable to see people who are new to the game figure it out. But, like, I don't know, man. When you've got a guy who can speedrun the game, like, 3 days after the release, and do Ultra Nightmare in 3 hours, if you're dying a lot, you suck. Like, you can't blame the game like, oh, the game put loads of enemies here. You know, like it's I don't know. It's a strange thing. I'm like, I watched a review and you'll be able to relate to this because you hate the negative reviews, right? And a guy was like, I don't get why Doom guy in the Dark Ages has a shield. He's the Doom guy. He should just be able to fucking go in everyone's face and just kill them. And I didn't respond because I didn't want to give his video any boost because it was so pathetic. But I thought, then why not just go put God mode on, if that's what you want to do. Go on Eternal, put God mode on, you know, and have absolutely no challenge whatsoever, no feeling of accomplishment, no skill issues because you're invulnerable. Oh, that sounds fun, doesn't it? Like, what's the point in being the Doomslayer and taking on all the enemies on Nightmare, coming out unscathed, in style, if you can just do it without any effort? It's pointless, you know?
I'm just glad that these people they don't work for id Software, and I'm glad they're not making creative decisions. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I can say about that, because I think when you take all the people bitching about Doom: The Dark Ages and you ask them honestly, if hypothetically speaking you worked for id Software and you were in control of a new Doom game, what would you do? You know, like if you honestly asked them that question, they'd be like, oh well, they wouldn't have an answer for you because they have no idea. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like I'm just really happy that they're not in control of
I know.
of any of it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I think we would just get the most boring Doom game possible if these people were
Oh god.
in charge of that.
Yeah. And let's not get started if the woke crowd got a hold of the game. Holy shit. That would suck.
Oh yeah.
My god. But
Well, it's not just that. It's like what we talked about earlier. They literally just want classic Doom every
Yeah.
time. That's all they want.
But classic. Here's the trouble: if you have classic Doom on a modern PC, and you have the exact same gameplay, they'd complain that it's too basic for modern times. Like people just want to complain just for the sake of it. Like
They have no idea what they want.
they're
They
insatiable.
have no idea.
They're I'll tell you why they're insatiable. Well, I don't know exactly why, but a lot of the time is they don't have a life outside of gaming. So they're pissed off at their own life, and they'll pick on everything all the time, no matter what it is. Oh, this movie sucked, this game sucked, you know, like everything sucks. And that's the internet. You know, a lot of
Right.
people voicing their miserable existence and channeling it through whatever you're doing. So let's say you do a fucking baseball channel. You know, they'd be complaining that the team sucks or whatever. And unfortunately, it seems a lot more prevalent in gaming. It is what it is. You know, you're always going to have people
Right.
like that.
And I think we're also living in a modern age where a lot of older franchises have literally been ruined. I mean, I don't know how you feel about
Oh.
modern Star Wars, but I think
Ugh,
modern Star Wars is
fucking hell.
absolute
Garbage.
garbage.
It is.
And I think that I think there's a reason why people are so jaded nowadays, because there are so many franchises that have been fucking ruined. But I don't think Doom is one of those cases at all.
Yeah, Doom is... Here's why I'm a fanboy of Doom. Is because the team that made Doom 2016, when the woke shit was starting to really get a hold, then they released Eternal, and not only in Eternal did they say we're not going to do any woke bullshit, they actively went the other way and mocked it in the game with that UAC
Right.
woman, you know. You know, the Earth is a melting pot of the universe. So
The
I don't.
hologram with the nice ass.
Yeah, right. And I don't think they're like fucking far right crazy people. I just think they're neutral, which is where I am. I'm neutral, and I just want a game to be about the fucking game. I don't want you to inject
Right.
your message into it. Like if you look at comic books, if you look at Spider-Man, Superman Edition 1, like you don't read Superman First Edition and go, oh my god, that's toxically masculine. Like, it's fucking awesome. That's all there is to say. Just leave it alone. So if something works, leave it alone. Don't fuck with it. Star Wars, the original trilogy, worked. And when they released the prequel trilogy years later, after what they've released lately, that's amazing. You know, compared to what they've done recently, that shit was amazing. But compared to the original trilogy, it you know, from 90% of people, wasn't as good. But at least when they released the prequel trilogy, they didn't fuck it up because of politics. They just didn't do as good a job with the storytelling, and it wasn't as immersive, and it wasn't as, you know, arguably wasn't
Right.
as good as the original trilogy. But that was years and years after the original trilogy, and when directors and producers get older, their ideas aren't as good. Quentin Tarantino talks about this, you know. He says, like, I've maybe got one more film in me, but it'll never be as good as my original work. Because when you're in your 20s and your 30s, you've got ideas coming out your ass, you know. So with Doom, when I saw that reveal trailer, Doom 2016, and I was like, oh my god, they're just going balls to the wall with this shit. And then they did it again with
Right.
Eternal. So imagine how happy I was when I played through the Dark Ages and I didn't get any of that bullshit. I didn't see anything that was egregious. It was just all about classic game, classic story, you know, all about telling the story and having a blast. And, you know, no toxic politics thrown in there. And when I got to the end screen, because it felt like a super long game in a good way, I was like, oh my god. Like, that was exceeding my expectations. Exceeded by a long shot.
Right.
Yeah, so...
I think we should definitely preface by saying that we're not going after people that are simply not a big fan of the game. Like, that's fine. We're all like fans of different things and everything.
Absolutely.
Like, I think we're mainly talking about the people that are just making these videos of where they hate the game and they just have to express to the world how much they hate the fucking game, and it's just like, oh my god,
Yeah,
these people are insufferable, man.
yeah, like it's one thing to not like the game and think, oh, you know, I'm gonna go back to Eternal. That's fine. You know, I don't expect everyone to like the game. But I'm saying that I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's just a shame how much negativity surrounding the game from the toxic gaming community, most of whom haven't played it. You know, it's
What did you think about what they did with the story and with the cutscenes?
the cutscenes I thought were incredible. I thought it was like a little movie. One of my favourite parts was when he breaks free of the Creed control, the Maker's control, and he starts pounding on the wall. I thought that was incredible. The opening scene when he's getting, it's like launched the Slayer and he got all his gear on. I thought that was great. And yeah, pretty much. I can't think of one I didn't like, really.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think the Dark Ages had some of my all-time favorite cutscenes in any video game. I just
Yeah.
think the way they look, like the stylized look, and you know, and I think in terms of the story itself, I think id Software is still not the best at telling a cohesive narrative, because I've watched multiple people stream through the game,
Yeah.
stream the game, and you know, like it was their first time playing, and you know, they're not reading the lore and that kind of stuff. But a lot of people, I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I don't know how we got from point A to point B. I don't really know what we're doing here, but I think it's cool." You know, like I've been hearing a lot of that from people, and I think that id Software they still need to tighten up their
Yeah.
narrative
Yeah,
somewhat.
Yeah, let's now go into the things that are more on the negative side for both of us. And like you said, the cutscenes were incredible. I thought the artwork was great. However, even with reading the little codex, and I'm a little geek, so on my first playthrough, I read everything about everything, so I understood it a lot more. But it is quite convoluted. So
A little bit, yeah.
in the cutscenes, they'll be like the Heart of Argent and this and that, and I'm like, fucking hell. Like the reason Lord of the Rings was so good was like, oh, they got this badass ring that control, it's all powerful. That's it, you know. And anything else more than that was kind of a bonus. But when you've got like the Heart of Argent and different dimensions, and this, even now I don't quite understand like this Wraith thing that we released, right? Do you know the one we released from prison in the Spire of whatever you call it? You know which one I mean? That level with the big. Not Wraith.
The only thing,
the Chulu.
The only thing, right. Well, the Wraiths. The only thing, my understanding is the Wraiths were the ones that lived before human beings or any of the demons, right? Like the Wraiths were the first beings, right?
Yeah. Well, I was actually meaning the Chulu. Do you know the one with the wings that released from prison? The Spire of Nerethul, or whatever you call it. And at the end,
the old one. The old one.
Yeah, the old one. And then, and then you go back to his dimension and stuff. And I was confused. Like, hang on a minute. I thought releasing him because he was going to help us. And then we kill him.
No.
See, the fact you have to explain that to me.
Right, yeah.
You understand? Go ahead.
They released him so the Doomslayer could go into the cosmic realm, so he could like latch on to him, because that's where he would transport himself,
right? So
that he could save Thera. Yeah. So like I said, it's
bit convoluted.
I think that id Software needs to apply the same general rule that they did with the gameplay, which is, you know, make the gameplay more streamlined. They need to make the story more streamlined, because take any great film. I don't know if you're a big movie guy.
Huge.
Almost every great film. Now, this isn't every single case, but most great classic movies, they have a very simple storyline that everyone can understand what's happening.
Yeah. That's what I found with this game, was even reading all the codex and watching the cutscenes without being interrupted. I looked back after I beat it. I was like, wait a minute, why was that? Why did we kill that old one guy? I thought it was on our side. And there was something else as well. Like when he gets King Novik, and then the Doom guy famously says "run." You know, that's an awesome cutscene. And then he gets the thing, and then he opens it, and it's not in there. And I'm like, what? I'm confused. I thought it had to be contained in that thing. And like, do you understand what I'm saying? Lord to death.
Of the game, Right. I think at the end of the game where you fight the old one, I think it's because Azrak, some people call him uh, ass crack or whatever. I think he was controlling the old one with some kind of
What?
demonic power that he got from the witch that was with him.
Yeah. So the.
So
Uh-huh.
yeah, so I think at the end of the game, I think you have to kill him because he's being controlled by
Yeah. So the
Azrak.
the old one is the witch's deity. So it's her.
Oh.
It's her god. That's what I read in. That's what I read in the codex. So when you're fighting him right
Okay.
at the very end, when it's like Azrak and the witch, and he says to the witch, I think, if I remember correctly, it's like you have to defend us, or you will not get your god, or something like that. But
Oh,
right, but there'll be somebody, if they haven't already, that's released a video on the entire lore of the game, and I'd advise you when they do to watch that. Someone did it for Doom Eternal; it was great. But I just feel like I agree with you on that one. I think there was a bit too much lore. It was a bit too intense, and
so that's the god that she worships, right?
yeah, because if you watch the cutscenes, the reason she's helping Azrak is it's like a deal. She's like, I'll give you the Horde, you can command the Horde, you get me my deity, something like that. And
Right.
yeah, and then in the end, when you kill the old one, I don't know if she's aware of that, but she still tries to kill you. But it's awesome lore. Like, don't get me wrong, I love it, but it's hard to follow.
Yeah, and there's been some people that have said that the witch did not die at the end of the campaign. I thought it looked like she got cut in half.
Yeah, then she
I
exploded.
thought she died, but other people are saying that she didn't die.
Well,
So I don't know.
she got cut in half, then she exploded, and the explosion causes the ship to crash. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Right. But in terms of other lore that I didn't quite understand, I'm trying to remember if there's anything else.
You know what? I think my favorite part of the game in terms of story is when the Doomslayer dies. He goes to the underworld.
Oh, that was so good. That was the best part.
and you
That was the best
and you
part.
fucking you hear the intro to 2016 playing the King Novik quote,
Yeah.
and then you awaken as the zombie slayer, and then you get the berserk,
Oh, that
and then
was
you
so good.
and then you flood the mausoleum thing with blood, and you rise up. Oh my god,
Yeah.
that was so fucking good, dude! Like
Yeah.
whoever wrote that needs a raise.
Yeah.
Give that man a raise.
I'll tell you why that was so good. Because it was completely unexpected and original. I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? I'm a zombie slayer now? And
And it's easy to understand what's happening. Like it's not over complicated
Yeah.
or any of that kind of stuff.
yeah. Keep it simple.
It's just
Yeah.
Yep.
Like just remember to keep it simple. Like Game of Thrones was a rare example of an extremely convoluted storyline that worked because even with a convoluted storyline, the storytelling was so good that people put in the effort to read the story or understand it. They go back and rewatch an episode to keep the. But Doom isn't Game of Thrones, and it needs to be a bit
Game
simpler.
of Thrones. I don't think Game of Thrones was really all that convoluted. I mean, if you look at the basis of it, it's really quite simple. It's just people trying to gain control over someone else, and it's I don't know. I actually think the Game of Thrones is extraordinarily
But the show was
written well.
The show was really toned down to make it more understandable, but the books are like really convoluted.
Right.
And you've got like a different chapter from each character and stuff. And that works. That worked in that. But
Yeah.
that's for, I don't know, kind of like intellectual types almost, isn't it? Like people who want a real complex fantasy medieval type thing. But Doom, it should be more simple than that.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, the only character I still cared about in the Dark Ages was the Slayer. Like I didn't care a whole lot about Thera, even though I didn't think she was a bad character. I just thought that, she was just kind of there.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about her. Like, she didn't annoy me or anything like that. She was just kind of there.
Yeah, Thera, I didn't connect with her at all. I thought she was kind of annoying.
Oh, really? So you were actually annoyed by her?
A little bit. I feel like there was a bit of boss bitch thrown in there, a tiny bit. Then it was just like she's just being annoying for the sake of showing I'm boss. It's like I used the example before, like in Alien. The reason Ripley was so badass was because of her intellect, not because she was an annoying like boss bitch. And she used that intellect in a way that was badass, admittedly, especially in Aliens. But it wasn't annoying. She was never like, oh, Huckley, or whatever his name was, the guy that... Not Huckley, is it? Hicks. She was never Hicks, shut the fuck up, give me the gun, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, show me how to use this thing. It was more natural. I just felt
it wasn't forced. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt with Third it was a tiny bit. I'm nitpicking here because we're talking in depth. Yeah, I thought it was a tiny bit forced badass, just a tiny bit. Like
I wasn't annoyed by her character. I was annoyed by her voice actor, who I thought was horrendous.
Yeah.
Why was this woman hired to voice her? Like, she sounds
annoying.
Like, if you look at her face, the voice doesn't match her face in the slightest, dude. It's awful.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, the trouble with having a boss girl like that is you have no reason to care about her, and if you don't care if she lives or dies, then it's not good storytelling. You're meant to care about the characters, And I also felt that King Novik came across like a bit of a bitch. You know what I mean? He came across a bit like he was beaten down, and he was like a
little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't seem like a king. It seemed like down on his luck.
The only thing that I'll say about Thera in defense of her character is she's probably the only character that supports Doomguy. Like she genuinely respects him.
Absolutely,
she's probably the only one that tries to help him and give him respect and all that kind of stuff. So I don't really.
Yeah.
I didn't find her annoying in that regard because she was never like trying to order the Slayer around or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm nitpicking.
It's all good.
For the sake of argument, but when I say madly annoyed, it was barely noticeable. But it was one little thing. I thought, I don't really care if she lives or dies, but I don't know, I just didn't connect with the character, It just was like that. King Novik I connected with a little bit because he seemed to show like quite a bit of vulnerability, but I felt like he showed way too much vulnerability. And
Novik, I think was just, it's Novik. I think really, when you look at his character, I think he's just supposed to be the guy that doesn't really trust the Slayer.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't know what really to make of this dude, which is kind of understandable. I mean, I think if the Doomslayer was a real guy, I think you'd have a lot of people saying, "Oh man, who the fuck is this?"
Even at the end, at the very end scene, he's like, he's like, "Oh, he's on his own, better off that way." And I was like, "Fucking hell, dude, chill," He's right. He's right, but
and I think I'm not sure if they put this into the narrative, but I always get the feeling that a lot of the Sentinels, like half the Sentinels, probably like the Slayer, but the other half, including Novik, are almost like a little bit jealous of the power that he has.
I didn't get that they were jealous. I get that they were scared because he was so powerful, and they know evil, right? And if that turns to evil, we're fucked. So, they were very wary of him. Even in the first level, he says, "Watch out for the Slayer. He's very dangerous." I felt like they were super wary of him.
So you think it's more of a fear rather than like I don't want this guy to get more power than me, kind of
Just
thing.
common sense. Just common sense. Like, oh, if he gets in the wrong hands, like, you know, we're all in big trouble here. And
Right, right.
I felt like King Novik had somehow been hurt by him in the past. Like he'd done something to, you know, to show distrust or something like that.
I don't know.
Or maybe just like they don't understand, because if you read the lore, they find him outside the gates and he's like all bloodied and bruised and battered and he's near death, and they find him and it's dubious, I think is the word.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like if you had Michael Myers, like if you took Michael Myers and he was actually doing heroic things instead of murdering people. I think that's kind of what the reaction that a lot of the Sentinels have towards him is like this
WTF.
This insanely terrifying character just emerges out of the darkness and starts killing the demons. I mean, that's, you know,
confusing.
I think it's a good analogy because, you know, I think the Slayer and Michael Myers would probably have they would, well, I'm not sure if they would get along or not, but similar kind of characters.
Well, Michael Myers, his problem is he goes after the good guys. If you go after the bad guys, he'd be a fucking legend. But hey, there's a concept for a movie. Michael Myers, but he goes after the bad guys, and the police and all the military don't know what to do with him. So we talked about the story, we talked about the lore, and one last thing about the lore. I'm super excited, and I predict right now that the DLC will be centered around Marok, which is the icon of sin, you know, and Betrayer's son. And he's got a little cameo in a few of the end scenes, because they hint at that. So they've got a lot of story there, because he doesn't like the Slayer.
I'm slightly paranoid about the DLC. Like, I'm really excited for it, but I'm also kind of paranoid because I don't want it to be. I really hope they don't have us play as Thera.
Yeah.
And I'm nervous that's the direction that they're going in the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope that they don't do that.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to play as Thera either.
I don't want to play as Thera. I don't want to play as any other character besides the Doom guy.
However, big caveat. No spoilers, by the way, because I've only played Resident Evil 1 and 2. But in Resident Evil 2, when you switch to the female, that didn't take away from the game at all. That was a brilliant concept. But I don't know if that would work in this game.
Yeah, but like that's a survival horror game, and this is like a power fantasy. I don't think it's the same thing, man.
And not only that, but I don't care about Thera. I don't dislike her. I'm not like, oh, I hate that bitch, but I don't like love her. I don't like, oh my god, she's awesome, you know.
I just want to say, if there's anybody from id Software that ever finds this podcast, please do not do a DLC where we play as Thera, please.
Too late. I can't speak. They'll have already written the story months ago.
Yeah.
The only way.
We're just gonna cross our fingers, man.
The only way I would forgive it is if they do it in a way that she's likable. Like I'm thinking Ellen Ripley, you know. If she's some annoying boss bitch, like, oh my god, please don't do that. Like, oh, that's just. It's going to be like, I wanted to die and root for the demons. You know?
I don't think there's any way that they could do that where I would like it. I think it's just sorry.
Yeah.
If I'm playing Doom, I have to be playing as the Slayer. Sorry. Absolutely have to be playing as the Slayer.
It could be done. Trust me, it is possible to do something completely out there and make it work. It is possible. It's like basically do the opposite of The Last of Us 2. Okay? More Game of Thrones Season 1, when they kill Ned Stark, and you're like, what the fuck? Oh my god! Like, that could either be really bad or really good. It's hard to be in between. It's either you're gonna love it or people are gonna hate it. It's a very, very risky way to go. You know.
Now wait, did they say they're making one DLC or two?
They'll be making two because the base game was
Are they?
$70 and the DLC on top was $30. So I would estimate that includes at least two DLC add-ons, but it depends on
Sweet.
the size. If there's one DLC and it's big, I'm happy with that. You know, so
So, what did you think about the music? Because this
Yeah,
has been,
yeah.
I think one of the most controversial parts of this game.
the music I can take it or leave it.
Really?
Yeah, okay. So when I played Doom Eternal, there was maybe 2 or 3 tracks which I Googled after, like, what's the name of that goddamn track? And one was the Mars Core, the intro. Oh my god, one of the best intros ever. That is such badass music. The other is Meat Hook, and the other is fuck. The other is I can't remember what you call it now. It's in the game, but it's like super badass. It's like Rip and Tear or something like that. But Doom the Dark Ages.
The only one they fear is you. That one.
That one. The other one is that's so good. When Doom the Dark Ages, there isn't a single track that I've Googled.
Well, what?
I'm just going to tell you
What's
as it is, bro.
What's your main genre of music that you listen to normally?
Uh,
I'm just curious.
I'm multi-genre, bro. I'm one of those people, and
Okay.
I like hip hop. I like some R&B, like very rarely. I like rap music. I like rock music. I like some classical music. I like even some pop music, especially from the 70s and 80s. So yeah, I like a bit of everything. So I completely understand and appreciate rock music, and I just didn't get any riffs that were like, oh my god, that was awesome,
Yeah, so I have a completely different reaction than you.
Okay.
I think it's one of my
Oh.
favorite Doom soundtracks of all time.
Good for you. Yeah.
It's hard to compare it to Mick because it's just completely different from what Mick did.
It's not as catchy. Yeah.
But I think that it's just metal as fuck, dude. Like
Yeah.
some of the riffs on this soundtrack are just they're like a sledgehammer, man.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think you really have to be like a metal guy to really get into that stuff
Right.
because the soundtrack it has some ambient stuff thrown in there, but it's just metal as fuck. And if you don't like that genre of music, I could see somebody being turned off by it.
I guess in terms of heavy metal, I'm more AC/DC than like fucking what do you call them?
Okay, so you're
Slipknot.
You're more of a rock guy. You're more of a rock
Yeah,
guy. than-
yeah. But
Okay.
but I'll be honest with you, I just didn't really notice the music. I didn't really notice it.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know why they
you go to
id software does this thing where they tune the music down. Like if you keep it on the default audio settings, like the music
Yeah.
is hard to hear.
yeah, but
I guess because they want you to hear everything that's going on. But
So I had default for Doom Eternal 80% on Dark Ages, whatever it was, and I noticed that I didn't fuck with the settings at all. So maybe it's just not maybe it's just like not my thing, like you said.
well, I can definitely tell you that that if you're not into metal, like really heavy metal music, you're not gonna like the Dark Ages soundtrack.
Yeah,
Um,
what I'll try doing.
I mean,
Just a minute. Let me just close TikTok here. What I'll try doing is I'll put the music up from my next playthrough. I'll put the sound effects down, and who knows, I might end up loving it.
yeah, I mean, what was so great about Mick Gordon is he was able to. It's really crazy what he was able to do because he could make a song that appeals to everybody. You know,
Right.
like there's like there'll be parts of a track that will appeal to people that like electronic stuff, and then there's parts of the song that were really appeal to metal guys, and he wraps it all together, and there's always this mainstream hook to the whole thing. And
Uh-huh.
I think that's why there's so many people that love the stuff that Mick did. Whereas I think what Finishing Move has done with the Dark Ages is just made something, because the art and the atmosphere in the Dark Ages it can be very dense.
Right.
Like it's there's not a whole lot of color in it. It's very desaturated. It's very dark. The cutscenes are very serious. Like as far as I know, there isn't hardly any
Yeah.
like comedic moments in any of the cutscenes.
So
Like it's very serious.
So if we were to compare the trilogy of the Golden Trilogy to music, I would say, and don't judge, but I would say Doom 2016 is rock. I would say Doom Eternal is pop, and I would say Doom the Dark Ages is metal. And when I say pop, I don't mean like it's a Madonna. I just mean it's very, very appealing to a wide audience. It's super catchy. It's super
Right.
easy to get on board with it, which is why they call it pop music, popular music, because it's like it's good for everybody. Whereas, like you said, like with Dark Ages, it's probably more for metalheads.
Well, it's just like, and I think whether or not you get into the Dark Ages is largely dependent on how much you like dark fantasy.
Yeah.
I am a sucker for dark fantasy. Like I was never able to get into Lord of the Rings because it wasn't dark enough. But when Game of Thrones came along and I read the books, I watched the show, I was like, oh my God, finally someone made a fantasy
Yeah.
for me that's
Yeah.
full of sex and nudity and
Yeah.
brutal violence
Yeah.
and these horrible characters doing these
Yeah.
horrible things, and it's like the Dark Ages to me like totally like
Down your
captures
alley.
that
Yeah.
that dark edge, and I think what Finishing Move has done with the soundtrack fits that mood perfectly.
Right. I'm not a huge
It's
fan.
just
of
brutal.
Dawn.
It's just brutal. It's in your face, and I love it.
Absolutely. I'm not a huge fan of medieval, dark medieval stuff or fantasy.
Really.
When I came across Game of Thrones, I was turned off by it from what I saw. I was like, I don't like medieval stuff. And my friend said to me, just watch the first 2 seasons. Promise me you'll do that. All right, EDC, hello. And if you don't like it by then don't watch the rest of it. And after season 1, I was hooked. And that went completely against the grain because I'm not into medieval shit at all. And it was just an example of how such good storytelling and acting and producing can bring you into something you're not even a fan of, right? So after seeing Game of Thrones, when I saw the Dark Ages, I was the same reaction again. I was like, oh, medieval dragons, not for me. And I wasn't one of the people that was fanboying it before it came out. I was hyped about the trailers a little bit, but I was very dubious. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this game, honestly. However, it was just like the video game version of Game of Thrones. Like, I played the first level, and I was like, no, this is fucking awesome. I was like,
Right.
I was sold immediately. I was like, there's blood everywhere. There's fucking, you got this cape. You're macing people. You got your shield. Like, oh my God, I was in love with it. Almost to the point where I almost preferred it over Eternal because it's more of like a goth vibe, more of like a traditional Doomslayer. Whereas Doom Eternal's like a futuristic type Slayer. So, yeah, it's not my typical thing. So that's an example of how good of a job they did with the Dark Ages because I was all into it,
I think give you a year and a half, and you will be in the dark fantasy.
I agree.
I guarantee it.
I agree because
You'll be into it.
yeah, I like I said, it was never my thing. But I just told you I love Game of Thrones, and I love Doom the Dark Ages, so maybe it is my thing.
Yeah, isn't that kind of what we started off this podcast where we were talking about how people need to give stuff a chance.
People need
not
to
be
go.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's like sometimes you don't know what you're into
Until you know.
until you experience it.
Yeah.
You know?
You don't know until you know.
Some of
Well-
my favorite bands, some of my favorite albums, favorite movies, games, whatever, usually stuff that I didn't like the first time I tried it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really care much for it. I didn't really understand it.
Right.
But the more I gave it a chance, it became one of my all-time favorite things.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the trouble with. I'm not going to like point the finger at anybody here, but instead of pointing the finger, I will say the current generation compared to when we were growing up and we played Doom 993 and stuff. Is there's this instant gratification. And if people don't get instant gratification from a game, they'll walk away from it. Now, when I was 8 years old and I was playing Commodore 64, and I play games like Dizzy, I don't know if anybody remembers that, but the games back then didn't hold your hand, and there was no internet. So if you got stuck, you couldn't Google it and go like, "How the fuck do we do this?" And I'm not exaggerating here. Sometimes it would take you weeks to figure out how to get to the next section. But when you figured it out, it was like, oh my God, this is awesome, you know? I feel like that's a lost art with the current generation. And I don't speak for everybody because there's a lot of people who are like us in this generation as well. But I just feel like we currently live in a world where instant gratification means a lot of people miss out on awesome experiences because they don't give it enough time.
Well, the whole Game Pass situation didn't help matters either, because I think that's what happened with lots of people is they downloaded off of Game Pass.
Yeah.
They played it for 20 minutes. They
Yeah.
stopped playing it and they formed an opinion on it. You know? And this is not that kind of game. It's just you don't play it for 20 minutes. Okay?
R.I.P.
This is just not that this is just not that kind of game.
R.I.P. If that's you, and after 20 minutes you thought you could tell if you're going to like the game, then I don't know what to tell you. Go back to Call of Duty. Because this is a game that gets more rewarding the more you play it. My first playthrough, like I told you, I play like an IGN Games journalist on my first playthrough. With any game like this in the story mode, I did that with The Last of Us. And it took me like 3 times as long to finish the game. But my first playthrough, I was getting my ass handed to me a lot. My second playthrough, because I'm a fast learner and I've played games like on Nightmare, I'm now completing levels without dying a single time. You know, on my second attempt. And it gets more rewarding the more you play it. And it was the same with Eternal. Every like 100 hours you added to your tally, provided that you were analysing your gameplay and learning from bad habits and getting input from professionals, you would enjoy the game even more and more. And it's like it just grows and grows and grows over time. And you can find this on YouTube. There's a video from a guy, I forget his name. He's big in the Doom battle mode community. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he released a video and it was something like what 10,000 hours in Doom Eternal looks like, or something like that, or 5,000. It was like an insane amount of hours. And somebody in the comments typed, imagine if you put this much energy into learning piano, you'd be halfway to being pro by now. And he's the best example of how the more hours you pour into this game, the more you get out of it. And I feel it's the same with Dark Ages.
The same with what?
With the Dark
your voice
Ages,
got
I feel like because it's a similar thing. It's a combat loop, but I feel like the more you master these weapons and the more stylish you get. So to me, what a professional is, this is my idea of what a professional is. It's somebody who takes playing passively and defensively into a way that they can make it look aggressive and also add in style. So instead of just like, let me kill everything and not get hit once, they take that on the hardest difficulty, then they add style. Like, oh, I'm going to headshot this guy, I'm going to flail this guy, I'm going to, what do you call that ball gun? Rocket launch this guy, And
Yeah.
they voluntarily add style for entertainment because they have the skill to do so. Pull it off immaculately, and don't get, you know what I mean? That's my version of a pro. And the closer you get to that, the more fun it
Right.
is for me.
If there's anybody listening that is just getting into the game and they're playing on Nightmare, I would strongly recommend every big fight that you get into, you gotta thin out the herd. You gotta take out the shield guys. You gotta take out the fodder. Take all of them out first, then focused on the bigger guys.
Because
Because if you're trying to, like, dude, I'm telling you, try taking on a cyber demon at max speed on Nightmare with fodder hitting you in the back while you're trying to parry
dead.
him. Like, it is impossible,
you're
dude.
dead. Yeah. Just a second. Hey, Goku, how you doing, brother? We love the game. How do you like it, man? Somebody's just added on chat. And somebody who isn't
Sweet.
a bot.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, okay. Big thing to mention now. We'll get into gameplay tips now for people that are new to the game. Maybe they listen to this and thinking, you know what? I'm going to give it a second chance. So we're gonna help you and give you a few basic tips that you don't, aren't pro level. I'm not pro level yet. I'm not saying that, but it'll help you get a level above. The biggest way to die in this game is, from my experience, lack of parrying when there's a green projectile headed directly to your face, or a red one, and you don't block it, or getting shot in the back or hit in the back. Your back is your biggest vulnerability in this game. You have to basically have eyes in the back of your head, because the game will spawn enemies behind you, and if you don't know the layout of the maps, you'll not see it coming. And even if it's a fodder demon on Nightmare difficulty, they do quite a bit of damage. So you've got to learn to constantly monitor what's in front of you and what's behind you. And I know that you had to do that Eternal as well, and I know you had to do that in Doom 2016 as well, but I'm saying in this game there's a lot more enemies like that. There's a lot more of them. There's a bigger quantity, so it's much more important. And I heard somebody say...
Yeah.
I'll just say this one last point. I heard somebody say who criticised the game, and they said, oh, basically to win at this game, you just go into a corner, defend a corner, and you'll win. No. No. In certain scenarios, I admit that's your best tactic. In certain arenas, that is absolutely your best tactic. But are you telling me, let's say there's like 3 Pinky Riders and a Cyber Demon, you just go into a corner and you just defend yourself, your shield will break straight away, because you're deflecting too much. Then they'll pile on you, then you're dead. So that's not a one fix for all thing. Your best way, from my experience, I don't know if you'll agree with this, Johnny, like you said, you get rid of the en masse enemies first. So the guys with the shields, the guys with the plasma shields, the nightmare imps, the imp stalkers, and take out the bulk of the stragglers first, and then you separate the bigger enemies into segments. Like, okay, I'll do the Pinky Riders, then I'll do the Revenant. At the same time, keep moving. The way I do it is in a circle around the arena. I don't know if you agree with that, Johnny. But I found, as a rule of thumb, if in doubt, focus from small to big and go in circles and watch your back at all times, basically.
Generally, yeah. I mean, it's why another part that I love about this game is that every fight kind of feels different from other fights. Like, it's not like every fight feels the same way.
Yeah.
Obviously, knowing where everything spawns is like more of a high-end thing, but it's like if you know that an Arachnotron is going to spawn in a certain spot at a certain time, it's the threat is eliminated. Because let me tell you, Arachnotrons in this game, holy shit!
You see, I'm nodding.
They will delete you, man.
Yeah. Arachnotrons in this game, by the way, they're a little bit different to the other
Brutal.
games. They have a super high damage output, but they have a super low health. So they're easily deleted, but they can easily kill you in seconds. So
Let me tell you, they do not miss a shot either.
yeah, watch out for the
do not miss a
Arachnotron.
shot.
They are brutal. I found in a couple of arenas, once you memorize the spawns, you can stand next to where the Arachnotron spawns, shotgun him, point blank, and he's dead. Unless he's armored, and then you have to back off and, maybe shotgun, then pin him down with a shield, then shotgun again. But yeah, look out for those guys. Seriously, they are deadly. Another enemy.
Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
thought I'd ask really quick. Is there anyone else that would like to talk about the game? Like, I know that we've just been kind of going on and on here. Is there anybody that's in chat with us that wants to talk about the game?
I just sent a ping to Discord, but
Because I thought I heard somebody join the voice chat here.
they just left.
Oh.
Yeah, Gabby just left. Hopefully some people chime in, but
Okay. I was just making sure that nobody else wanted to chime in.
yeah, that'd be cool. If anybody else wants to chime in, please do so. We're not elitists. If you don't like the game, that's fine. We're not gonna go hard on you. Like,
Yep.
you're not
It's all
forced to
good,
like
man.
the game. This is just our opinions. I love the game. Johnny loved the game. But if you didn't love the game, we'd love to hear why. From a constructive point
Yeah,
of view.
right. So going back to the Arachnotron, there's two main ways to get rid of it. It's like you can immediately hit him with your shield throw.
Mhm.
A lot of people do that. I just like to shield charge him. Like
Yeah.
shield charge, SSG.
Yeah.
He's done.
Yeah. Shield charge and SSG. That I also like that one for the Revenant. If you
Yeah.
shield bash him and super shotgun to the face, he'll go into glory kill state. However, this is all well and good, but when that's all going on at the same time, you got to use different tactics, you know. So you got to mix it up a bit sometimes. You might want to shield bash the Revenant, super shotgun him, and then maybe not in a position, or there's a cooldown for the shield bash. Then you throw it at the Arachnotron. Like the Arachnotron, the shield throw on the Arachnotron when he's unarmored is probably the best way to stop him from hurting you, as long as you're not too vulnerable, because it puts him out of action, especially with the upgrade, for about 5 to 7 seconds. During that time, you can take care of other shit, you know. But,
Yeah, and they've recently patched the game too, and it definitely feels harder now than when it did at launch. Have you noticed that?
it feels what? Sorry.
Harder than it was at launch. Like the SSG doesn't do the same amount of damage. I'm not
Oh.
sure if you noticed that.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, because before you could like one shot a Hell Knight with the SSG. Now you can't do that.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know that the accelerator's been upgraded, and I don't know
Has
if I don't know if this is my imagination, but on the last level I did about 2 hours ago, I got out the accelerator, and it was powerful, dude. It
I
seemed
don't use that gun.
right.
use the
Nobody does.
cycler.
Nobody uses the bloody
Yeah.
accelerator because it's a pointless gun. Until now, I think now it's pretty badass. I mean, I got it out by mistake because I pressed plasma rifle twice, and I thought, fuck it, might as well use it, you know. And it was kicking ass, dude. It was kicking ass.
Yeah.
It's the only gun in the
I
game
think-
that was before the patch was pointless.
I think it's one of those guns where it's only viable when it's mastered, basically.
I mean, I haven't got it mastered. I've got it semi-mastered, but I've literally just mastered it after my last encounter. But even early on in the game, it's okay to use it early on in the game when you haven't got other weapons, obviously, because you need to diversify your ammunition. But yeah, later on, it was basically a redundant weapon. Would you not agree? That later on in the game, you're like, what's the point in using this? Like,
Yeah, but I will say that the cycler,
Mm-hmm.
especially mastered, is very very viable because it's shock.
Oh,
if you
yeah, the cycle's
How do you-
completely different story.
and how when you kill an enemy with it,
Yeah.
it transfers its shock to
Yeah.
the enemy that's closest to it, and you can just
Yeah.
keep shocking things, man. It's fucking mental, man.
Yeah, the cycler's a completely different animal. I'm not talking about the cycler for now. I'm talking about the accelerator that you get quite early
What
on.
is what do you think is the most terrifying enemy in the Dark Ages in terms of
Oh, just a second.
difficulty?
Hello, Mongus. How are you? Welcome.
Hello.
Say again. Sorry. The most scary enemy you said?
Yeah, like in terms of like the enemy that freaks you out in terms of oh shit, I could die.
I'll be
Like, what's the
honest.
enemy be-
I've
that
I've,
gets
re-
you
I've
feeling?
recently got really good of dispatching of them, but the revenants piss me off, man. Like not like piss me
Really?
off, but they make me nervous because when you're playing on Nightmare and you're in one of the harder arenas, and there are some hard arenas. Like I don't care what people say, there are some tough arenas in this, even when you're an advanced player or. And if you've got a lot coming at you, or let's say you've got armoured Mancubus and a Pinky Ride that's armoured, and there's a Revenant thrown in the mix and an Arachnotron, the Revenant is the biggest pain in the ass. Because when you're trying to run away, he throws those things and they get you in the back. And they delete you
Yeah.
real fast. They delete you really fast. Like you can hear them coming like... "Zzzz." And it's like two of those, 3 of those on Nightmare and you're almost dead. So like... I'd say the Revenant is the biggest one for me, which is surprising because most people would probably think, oh, the Agadon Hunter or the Komodo Champions or the Komodo Dragons. But I'm not as scared of those guys because usually when you get those guys, it's just those alone. The Revenant, when it's thrown in an arena with a ton of other enemies, is a nightmare for me. How
There's
about
only
you?
there's only one demon that makes me panic. Are you able to guess
Yeah,
what it is?
Kako.
Yes.
Yeah. Why does that make you panic?
I don't know because it just appears out of nowhere,
Uh-huh.
and it's like fence shockwave things that it sends at you are very difficult to dodge unless you're far away from it. Like if you're medium range, good luck dodging that
Yeah.
motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it's probably the hardest demon to parry. Like I feel like its parry timing is really strange. Like when it
Yeah.
fires the green thing at you.
Yeah.
And dude, if you're close range to the Kakademon, its melee will devastate you.
Okay, so the Kako, when I see a Kako, I think that's annoying, but it doesn't scare me because they move so slow. In Doom Eternal, those mother truckers were fast, you know? However,
Yeah, but I didn't
yeah.
think they were a threat in Doom Eternal though at all. Not really.
Oh, an Ultra Nightmare, those things are terrifying, dude. Fuck.
Eh,
Because they go, chomp, and you're dead. That's it.
Yeah.
Good night.
I think the Kakademons in Dark Ages are a lot worse personally, but that's just me.
That's, yeah, each their own, but,
Because
Yeah.
because the thing with the Kakademons in Doom Eternal, all you gotta do is shoot a single sticky bomb in its mouth and it's done.
yeah, there was usually more than one though,
Yeah.
wasn't there? Just a minute.
Yeah.
I saw some of your Doom Eternal videos, so I went to see if you were streaming on Twitch. Oh, nice one, bro. Welcome. Any questions, just ask us, we'll answer them. We're talking Dark Ages tonight. Each to their own, bro. I tell you what would suck if we all agreed on everything. Like, oh my god, yeah, Kako, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
that would be boring. But Kakos, they should scare me. They were probably arguably more dangerous than Revenants. But they don't fucking send a shiver down my spine. Like, them Revenants is basically like a cockroach to me. Or a fly that you can't swat. Now, a cockroach is a bad example. It's a fly buzzing around the kitchen, right? You just can't fucking get it. Like, bzzz, and then you think, fine, I'll kill him. And then he goes into like ghost mode. And you're like, motherfucker.
The worst is when you get a bunch of fucking gnats around your face, man. That's the worst.
Oh, okay.
Those-
Yeah.
Those little fucking gnats. I don't know whether you get those where you live, but
Yeah, we get it.
And
We've
this-
got it. Uh-huh.
in the summertime here, like you just get eaten up by those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Well, we've got a question. How does this game compare to Doom 2016 and Eternal? Better or worse? Okay, my personal opinion, and this is all personal opinion, by the way, because everything's subjective. Number one out of the golden, I called it the golden trilogy, in terms of Doom. Number one for me is Doom Eternal. Number two is Doom the Dark Ages, and number three is Doom 2016. However, that's a very, very, very close.
Right.
You know, that's so close. It was hard for me to make the decision. What about you, Johnny?
I would recommend to everybody try the game out yourself. I mean, if it's like a money thing, I mean, you can always try it on
Mhm.
Game Pass right now. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like it's really hard to compare because it's so different.
Basically,
You know,
yeah. If you like Doom
it's
and you're willing to learn the game, you'll probably enjoy it. Would you agree with that?
yeah. Like
Yeah.
first, I'd probably ask the person like, what is your favorite Doom game
Right.
in the series, and then the answer that they would give me would probably be what I would say next.
Right. Yeah.
But there's certainly no guarantee though. If you loved 2016 and you loved Eternal, like there's no guarantee you're gonna love the Dark Ages.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Uh,
And if you
I
had
would say give it. Yeah.
to order them 1, 2, and 3 at gunpoint, what would be your order?
I think the Dark Ages is my all-time favorite Doom game. I'm gonna put it out there.
And
Number one.
And what about 2 and 3?
Eternal will be number 2, and
2016 and 3. Yeah. So I'm very similar to Johnny. The only reason I picked Eternal over Dark Ages, and it's almost an impossible decision, almost impossible, is simply I like bright colours. And Doom Eternal is a neon fucking paradise, you know. But
Well, like
yeah.
I said earlier, man, like Eternal used to be my all-time favorite Doom game, but a couple nights ago I tried to play it, and I thought it was verging on unplayable compared to the Dark Ages. And I know
Yeah.
that's a dramatic thing to say, but
Yeah,
for me personally, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can play this anymore, man.
yeah, you can adapt, but I would say the movement in Dark Ages is a lot faster. You can
Yeah, I was.
you're basically a fucking Shelby GT 500. You know, you've got the power, but you've also got the speed.
Yeah, right. Like I think if like Eternal, you're more like a panther that can fly all over the place, and I think in the Dark Ages you're just a fucking bull in a china shop, man.
Yeah, you're almost
You know?
In Doom Eternal. If you like cars, in Doom Eternal, you're a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
You're a Huracan, or you're a McLaren. You don't break down though, or a Ferrari. In Doom 2016, you're God, that's a tough one. Shit, Doom 2016. What car would that be? Buh, 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 buh. I can't think of a car that Doom 2016 could be.
I just think it's funny
Hummer.
how
You're a Hummer.
your brain goes to cars and my brain goes to animals.
And in Doom the Dark Ages, you're a muscle car, a modern muscle car, 1,000 horsepower, high torque, V8 beast. So
I think one of my favorite parts about the Dark Ages, and this is just genius, how when you jump from a ledge and you land on the ground, that sound effect,
yeah,
that whoom,
oh, it's amazing.
one of my
Yeah,
favorite parts of the game. Like,
yeah.
genius.
Mongus says Doom 2016 is my favorite. The atmosphere, level design, story, gameplay, it is almost perfect in all aspects, in my opinion. That's awesome, bro. I'll tell you what I love about that is you're showing individuality there. You're telling us your true opinion. A lot of people do prefer 2016.
Right.
I haven't played 2016 in 9 years. If I was to play it again now, I might like it more. Like I don't know. But from what I remember, Doom Eternal blew my mind. Dark Ages blew my mind. Doom 2016 blew my mind. So it's hard to pick. But I like, in a way, that you said 2016, because that shows even back in 2016 they did a great job then. Even now, people still prefer that one, you know?
Yeah, it's just like, it's really hard to say because in Dark Ages, there's a lot of parrying. There's a lot of using your shield, there's a lot of hanging back, and there's a lot of parrying. And if the thought of parrying a lot isn't a positive thought for you, I don't know if you're going to get into it. But like I said, it's like with everything else in life, you got to try it out yourself, you know.
You got to try it, but give it a fair chance. Play through the whole story.
Yeah.
Don't play 10 minutes and then go, oh, they're saying on X that it sucks, so yeah, it sucks. Well,
Yeah, it's
The only issue I had with 2016 was the soldiers firing the laser things. I didn't like that. I prefer the classic soldiers from Doom where they've got the shotgun.
Oh.
And some of the art choices I didn't enjoy. But in terms of gameplay,
2016, man, the fucking imps on Nightmare. Holy shit.
yeah, I was also say Nightmare was Nightmare on Doom 2016 mirrored Nightmare in the original game, in that it was almost impossible. You know?
Well, Nightmare in classic Doom was just nobody really plays on that mode because it's just like enemies like spawning
Respawn,
again.
yeah.
Which I don't know why. I don't know who would want to play that. Like Ultraviolence is really the one you want to play on with classic Doom. But those imps on 2016, man, like holy shit, they will snipe you from a mile across the map and it kills you in almost one hit.
Yeah, I know.
Just complete nonsense, man.
I know. And also they aimbot as well. They aimbot on Nightmare on Doom Eternal as well, but it's way more annoying, I would say, in Doom 2016. And I've seen Nightmare playthroughs and Ultra Nightmare playthroughs. Of course I can do it. Like, put my mind to anything. Yeah. But I would argue that it's almost fucking like almost a chore because it's just too hard. You know, it's like, oh, you're like on edge everywhere you go. Like one hit and I'm dead.
I beat the game on Ultra Nightmare once, and it was one of the most stressful.
You did?
Yeah, a while ago, man.
Wow.
PlayStation
Dude.
4. I beat it on PlayStation 4. Ultra Nightmare. Back in the day,
wow. Holy shit.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's one of the most stressful experiences you'll ever have because guess what? Not only do you worry about the imps, but if you miss one jump,
you fucked.
Your run's over. Your run's over because you're gonna fall and you're just gonna die instantly.
So apparently Johnny's a masochist.
Well, I only did it once, so you know.
Monga says. At
least I did it right.
Well done, bro. I wasn't big into gaming back then. I played through it once on Ultraviolence, and that was it. I put it down. But I could do it. I just don't know if I want to. Monga says Doom Eternal was good and made some great improvements to mechanics. But I don't like how convoluted the story was and the change in art style in Eternal compared to Doom 2016. So that's just a matter of personal taste. I preferred the art style in Eternal much more. I like bright colours. I like neon. I like bright, shiny shit, gold, fucking, you know, I like kind of over the top. But Doom 2016 was way more like the original.
When I'm talking about 2016 and Eternal, the way I view them is I view 2016 as more of a John Carpenter film where it's really moody and atmospheric.
James Cameron.
Yes.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because it's just balls to the wall. It's in your face.
Yeah.
It's colorful. Yeah. You know, it's like...
it just doesn't stop. If you've seen Aliens, we'll not spoil the film for you, but it just doesn't fucking end. It's like, oh, well, okay, everyone's he's dead now, that's it. And then it goes on. And then it goes on.
Right.
And I felt that was like Doom Eternal. It was like James Cameron version of a game. It's funny how we both have the same idea. And I feel like Doom 2016 was like Ridley Scott, like the original Alien. More like...
right.
Yeah, but... also...
And I think...
Uh-huh.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, a comparison could be made as well. Doom 2016 is like the original Terminator, and Doom Eternal is like Terminator 2. That could...
Yeah, I think after 2016, I think they kind of had to go in the opposite direction, right? Because you can't just repeat yourself. You know what I mean? So like you have to do something different.
Yeah.
Each time.
I knew Doom Eternal was going to be amazing when I saw them release some footage, and it was full of bright colours and it was like arcadey. It was like an arcadey vibe. And I thought, these guys, I trust them. They did 2016. They know what they're doing. This is going to be so sick. I just had a gut feeling about that. And I thought, it's basically Doom 2. Doom Eternal is basically Doom 2, you know. But better.
Right.
Because some of the level design in Doom 2 was questionable, but in my opinion.
The one thing in Doom Eternal that I will not defend is the story.
Yeah. Okay. That's what Mongus agrees with you on.
Yeah, it's just all over the fucking place, man.
The story was convoluted, but I mean, some of it was incredible. Like the bit where you go to Mars Core and you get in this, you get the BFG, and then you get in the little thing, and it, it throws you across. And Samuel Hayden's like, "This is not a gun," and it was incredible.
Yeah, the cutscenes are great
Yeah.
in Eternal, but it like in terms of the actual narrative, it's like, what the fuck is even
Complicated.
going on here?
Yeah. Like when you go to Sentinel Prime and you find the Gladiator, I'm like, what the fuck? Where am I now? I don't know. Oh my god. And the
Yeah.
the makers, I'm like, the makers, the what? Huh? But the gameplay was so
I'm the
good.
biggest, right. I'm the biggest fan of id Software that there is, and even I will say they're not the best at making narratives.
No, they're not the best. They're not bad though.
But
They're just.
I will definitely
Yeah.
say that the story they made in the Dark Ages is their best attempt yet,
Yeah.
and I think they're probably just going to get better from here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm a fanboy of the Dark Ages. For me, it's a cult classic. How do I know it's a cult classic? So let's rewind, right? Let's go back in time. 2016, Doom 2016. I couldn't get off the game. I was a no-lifer for at least, I don't know. The playthrough took me a while because I take my time, but for the entire playthrough, I was a no-lifer. I didn't have any social contact at all. Doom Eternal, same thing. Had an absolute blast. Still to this day remains as one of the best times of my life when those two games came out. Then going further back, Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, Gears of War 2006. All of these stand out in my mind as epic times in my life when gaming was better than real life. Okay? Like Doom 3. I had a good life back then. I had a girlfriend, I had things going on. And in spite of that, I was having more fun playing the game than real life. Okay? And those times don't come around very often. I would even stretch to Modern Warfare, the original Call of Duty 4.
Yeah.
That was incredible. And I can I can go on all day about cult classics, but cult classics are rare. Like, you'd be lucky to get one in every year. Do you know what I mean? Like, in between each game I just told you then, there was gaps of time. Where in a few years, there was games that I loved, but they didn't, like, oh my god, this is me. This is as good as it gets. And Doom the Dark Ages, I got that vibe. Like, I've played through it once, I'm going through a nightmare. I've got shit that I've got to do right now, and I don't know, I just can't wait to get back to the game,
Right.
I'm going...
And
go ahead.
the whole thing about being a cult classic is you really don't know that something is a cult classic until years down the line. And I think that's how it was with Doom Eternal, where when it first came out, a lot of people didn't know what to make of it. And nowadays, it's looked at more of like, oh wow, that was something else. Even though there's still people that hate Doom Eternal.
I've got this kind of foresight. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I can kind of sense an instant classic. I'll tell you how I know this. You might not like this film, but hold on a second, Mongus. You might not like this film, but we'll use films as an example. In 2011, a film came out called Drive. Okay. I didn't even see the fucking film. I just knew Ryan Gosling was in a film, and my brother, all he said to me was, "You got to watch this, Dan." That was it. He didn't tell me about the story. He didn't tell me about... And I knew straight away, this is going to be an awesome movie, and it's going to be a cult classic. Before I'd even seen it. And then when I seen it, and I said to my friend, that's a cult classic right there. And it is. Drive to this day.
Drive is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh, it's a fucking brilliant movie. Brilliant movie.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Flawless. It's almost flawless. It's pretty much flawless.
Yeah.
So, not to sound arrogant, but I've usually been right about these things. And Dark Ages, for me, I can just feel it, bro. It's a cult classic. And in 5 years, 10 years, people look back and like think, oh my God, when that game came out, all the controversy and people hated it. And, I've just got that feeling about this game.
I think all of this comes back to, like, if you're thinking about trying the game out, if you're thinking about trying anything in life, I'll go really, really deep here. Don't listen to anyone else's opinion. Try it out yourself. Form your own opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that applies to anything in life, by the way. One thing I was going to tell a joke. aside from
Go for it.
aside from S3 actual choices, maybe like somebody might say that's cool, but no, I'm not. But in terms of like traveling to a country or something like that, unless it's clearly very dangerous, just go your fucking self, bro. Work it out. Like everybody told me Vegas sucked. I went to Vegas. Fuck me. I had the best time of my life. So, try
I
that.
have
Try shit
never
out
been to
yourself.
Vegas.
Vegas is Marmite.
Never.
Vegas is Marmite. And Marmite, if you don't know what that is, it's this sauce in the UK. It comes in a jar, and it's got a very peculiar
Yeah,
taste. Do you have
I
that
don't
over
even
there?
know what that is, man.
Well,
No.
it's the kind of thing that you either love it or you hate it. There is nobody that's kind of like, oh, I kind of like Marmite. Like that. It doesn't exist. It's either
What is it?
It's just like a sauce. It's like kind of like something you put on sandwiches or
Oh, so
toast or
does it-
something. Yeah, yeah.
What does it taste like though? Like mayonnaise or something like that?
No. It's a very like bitter taste. But a lot of people don't like it. But just a second, Mongus. One stupid thing. Mongus is just replied. One stupid thing in how in Eternal story, somehow Doomslayer has the Fortress of Doom at the beginning of the game, and they don't even explain how he got it after Doom 2016. Yeah. So okay, with Doom Eternal, they sacrificed the story and explaining the story to invent a new story that would give them an excuse to go down to Earth, kick ass, get the BFG, blow up Mars, and they kind of use the gameplay, and then I feel like they tacked the story onto the gameplay, you know? So gameplay came first, story came second. And I don't disagree with the decision. I think they did a great fucking job. It's like we're talking about Terminator 2. It's like, okay, how can we make a Terminator sequel that's good? Okay, so this time let's have Arnie be the good guy, and he's protecting John from an even more badass. All right, but how do we explain that? Oh, we'll worry about that later. You know.
Well, what's the famous Carmack quote where he talks? I'm gonna paraphrase this because I don't remember the exact quote. He said something like, "Story is about as important in video games as it is in porn." It's like it's not needed at all. Like
Yeah.
I forget what he said exactly, but he was a big fan of not really having any story. Yeah, because if you look at classic Doom, there's hardly any story at all. It's just like you're this lone Marine that has to survive this onslaught of demons, and that's all you need to know, right? That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Now people have had issues with that. Even DSP, I'm not a fan, but I just heard that he doesn't like Doom, the new Doom games, because he said in Doom, and this is a valid point, by the way, he said in Doom 993, you're just a fucking badass Marine that was better than all the others. And you managed to survive and you kicked ass. And he says, like, I don't like all this flying through space, fucking makers and all this shit. And that's fair enough, you know. And there would be a good... you know, that could make a good story as well, just a simple Marine that's a badass. But how would you continue that storyline?
The only argument that I'll give to that is that if you keep that basic storyline, it almost limits
It limits
the
you.
gameplay it
Yeah.
limits the gameplay
Yeah.
because if you're gonna have like a character in Doom Eternal flying around doing all this crazy shit, he can't just be a
Be a
regular
normal Marine.
space
Yeah,
Marine.
yeah, yeah. And
Because that won't make any fucking sense.
yeah. And by the way, what people are forgetting, in Doom 993, if you were a realistic space Marine, you wouldn't be able to switch from a shotgun to a rocket launcher and just pull it out your ass.
Yeah.
You'd have to go back to base camp. Okay, we've got the heavy rocket launcher. Fire a couple of rockets. Oh, we're out of ammo. Like, there's always been an element, even in 1993, of over the top. Like, nobody can hold 10 weapons in their possession. Like, you know. So that's my excuse for it. But
One
it's
thing
a good point.
Yeah, I'll go back to Doom Eternal's storyline too, and I've thought a lot about this. The story of Doom Eternal should have been the Slayer escaping what happened at the end of 2016, how he like stuns you with this energy charge thing or whatever, right? Samuel Hayden, like he.
Oh yeah,
stuns
yeah,
the
yeah,
sister
yeah,
and
yeah,
he's, like,
yeah, yeah. Fucks
stuck
him
there.
up. Yeah,
Like the whole story in Doom Eternal should have been escaping whatever prison that Samuel Hayden captured you in, and then the whole rest of the game is you going after Samuel Hayden, and Samuel Hayden should have been the main bad guy, and you still could have included all the Mars Core stuff. You know, they could have found a way to do
yeah,
that. But
but
that's what the story should have been in Doom Eternal. I
yeah.
think.
The problem with that is, then you're not fighting the Icon of Sin, and the Icon of Sin is fucking awesome, and it makes people think of Doom 2.
Oh, you can
Yeah.
always write a storyline where at the end of the game, Samuel Hayden awakens the Icon of Sin, and you have to kill the Icon of Sin before you fight him.
Even better, yeah, like you said, like Aliens, you know, you fight the Icon of Sin, and you think, oh, that's it, and then you've got to fight Samuel Hayden too, and that's
because it just
ironically, that was the boss of the DLC 1. That was Samur. That is Samuel Hayden.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense because at the end of 2016, it's really clever what they did at the end of that game, how it's revealed that Samuel Hayden was just using you the entire time to get the Crucible and to gain power.
Yeah.
And they fucking abandoned all of that in Doom Eternal. It just
Yeah,
made zero sense.
I'm going to fanboy on that one and forgive them because, it's like you said, John Carmack, he's always been about gameplay of a story, and it goes with the original
True.
game. So I'm gonna fanboy with him on that one. But yeah, it is over convoluted. The story is overly convoluted. I absolutely agree. And Moga says, I think Doom 2016 actually had a solid story. The whole thing with Argent Energy and Samuel Hayden trying to stop the Doomslayer from destroying the facilities is pretty cool. I also like how they explained the backstories of the characters through holograms. It really adds to the world building of the game. Yeah, I would say the 2016 story was a lot less convoluted than Eternal. It was easier to follow.
The other thing that I will say about it is that Olivia Pierce was a great fucking villain too.
Yeah, I
Like,
wanted her
she
dead.
was a solid, yeah, she was a solid, and that's not easy to make a good female villain either.
No, it's not.
Because usually they're pretty cringe, but she was great.
Again, she was badass with her intellect. You know, she wasn't
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm going to fucking... She was like using the brain and fucking up the Doomslayer by using the, you know, channeling all hell's energies and stuff like that. And yeah, it was good. I haven't played it in 9 years, but I do remember most of the story. But I
I
remember...
just think it's funny.
Uh-huh.
I just wish that I was a fly on the wall when they first started talking about Eternal's story. And like Hugo must have come in and just said, "Look, we're gonna take everything we did in 2016 and throw it out the fucking window, guys."
Fair play.
Probably,
Look, let's be honest. They made a great fucking game. It was a strange choice, but it worked. Yeah. It's like, so when Aliens, you talk about fly on the wall. When Aliens was what's the word? When it was offered to was it 20th Century Fox? And James Cameron came in, and the first thing he did, apparently, this is apparently what happened, is he got a pen on the whiteboard, and he put Aliens, and then he put a line through the last S for a $, and he wrote the script based on like Terminator 2, you know, being ultra entertaining, whereas Alien was survival horror. He was like, okay, now we're gonna fucking go all out. And then he kind of tacked the story on from that, you know. But if you think about Aliens, the story is still quite simple and it does make sense. Whereas with Eternal...
You know what's crazy about Aliens, and I'm going to get off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I actually think Aliens can be just as scary as the first one at times.
Yeah.
Don't you think so? Like it can, like
gotcha.
It's a great action movie, but it's really good at like building up the tension too.
Right.
You know?
So here's why people prefer Alien over Aliens. It's just down to personal choice. In Terminator, the original guy, was terrifying. The T-1000 was scary, but it wasn't as terrifying, but it was still scary, right? But like in Alien, I watched it recently. I could not believe how good it still is. Oh my god, in 4K.
Oh,
Oh,
it's a masterpiece.
at the very end, I won't spoil it, but at the very end when she's with the alien, and the alien's thinking intellectually, he's thinking, okay, I can't kill this bitch. She's driving. You know, like I'll wait till we get to our destination and then I'll kill her. You know, but in Aliens, it wasn't so much like the proximity of the alien and trying to hide and figure out what it was. It was just the scanning stuff. You know, like the pulse rifles. It's like beep, 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 beep. It's like they're getting closer.
Yeah. Have you seen any behind the scenes of Alien 1 where they got the idea for the film?
No.
Do you know about any of that stuff? Well, apparently the whole idea behind Alien was supposed to be that men could feel what it's like to get raped and like to have a baby growing inside of you. It was this was this whole weird idea that they had of like because that's what the face hugger does, is it has sex with your mouth. It impregnates you.
Yeah.
And it comes out through your chest, which is just insane to me. But that was the whole idea of like
right.
all of that.
Just by the way, make sure when you say the R word, you say grape, and when you say the S word, say S3X. I haven't experienced it yet, but I've been told that they'll not push your video. So if I
shit, really?
Yeah, apparently they shadow ban it. Don't worry about it. You know, it's our first one.
My bad, man.
But I don't know if that's true. But I just know on all the podcasts I watch.
Okay.
Apart from Joe Rogan, who probably doesn't give a shit at this point because he's loaded. But apparently,
So there's certain words.
Certain words, but
I gotcha.
I don't know yet. I'm new to podcasting, and I've certainly said that word on stream before. But,
I gotcha.
I guess it's a good idea to build good habits early on. But yeah, it's
understand.
It's funny the similarities from James Cameron to the Doom world. It's so funny how similar they are. You know.
Yeah, I mean, but that was like such a shock in the pan moment. I mean, you just don't see that very often, where you have a sequel that just goes in a completely different direction.
I feel like I feel like if Cameron did Terminator 3, he would have gone back to the like Skynet, like kind of like medieval, you know, like it'd have gone back to the roots when the warfare started.
I was always a bigger fan of Terminator 1. I mean, I love Terminator 2 as much as the next guy, but Terminator 1 for me is where it's at.
It's terrifying.
Because it's like it's still an action film, but it's more of a horror film.
It is. It is the scenes where he's chasing him on the motorbike and they're throwing the bombs. Like, you're scared of that guy. You're scared. Whereas the T-1000, he's scary, but you're not like, oh my god, you're not like having nightmares about that, you know.
Yeah, I was always shocked that Arnold didn't play more villain roles, but I guess after he played Terminator, like it's really hard to top that. You know, like you can't really top that performance.
Absolutely, yeah. He's. I mean, we'll close this topic soon, but there are certain films that I always say the stars align for that film, because you can have the best script, the best actors that you want, the best director, the best producer, and if the stars do not align, you'll not get a good movie. If the director's having marital issues, you might not get a good movie. If one of the actors gets sick, you'll not have a good, you know, like there's all these things going against it. That's what made Quentin Tarantino so good, is when he came up with a script for a movie, he was basically a nerd about Hollywood, and he knew that, okay, I can have the unlimited budget, all the actors I want, and it could still mess up. So for each role, he had like four reserve people for each role, and the original lineup was nowhere near what the film came out to be. A lot of people wouldn't do it. Bruce Willis wanted to be one of the gangsters. And this is where Quentin Tarantino became popular, not necessarily because Pulp Fiction was so good, that's the majority of it, but it was because he was one of the first directors that ever said no to an A-list actor. So Bruce Willis was like, oh, I like your script, it's great, but I'm not going to be a boxer, I want to be the gangster. And Tarantino said, no, you're not going to be in the film then. he said, if you want to be the boxer, get back to me. You know, speak to your manager, and I'll let you. But you're not going to be the gangster. And he just told him no. And Bruce Willis apparently said that was the first time someone had said no to him. You know, since he'd been A-lister. So, what makes a good movie? What makes a good video game? Is all about who's in charge of it, and if they choose integrity over being cheese, cheese basically. So
Yeah, I'll say
it's one
other. I'll say one other thing about Terminator 1. Did you know who was originally supposed to play the Terminator before Arnold took the job?
I do know this, and I forgot who it was. No, go ahead.
O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. I didn't want to say it, but that's who I was thinking of.
Isn't that wild to think about? O.J. Simpson and Arnold was actually almost played Reese.
Yeah.
So that would have been a strange fucking movie. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, and also in Terminator 1, Arnold said to James Cameron, he said, "Wait a minute, I'm a robot." I wouldn't say I'll be back. I would say I will be back. And James Cameron said, I do the fucking writing, you do the acting.
yeah.
And that's what he told him. He said, look, mind you, keep stay in your fucking lane, And yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely gotten off on a wild tangent here, but I'll say one more thing about Cameron. If you haven't watched the behind the scenes on the making of The Abyss, you have to watch it.
Don't say anything more because I've never seen The Abyss, and I'm going to watch.
What?
I'm going to watch it this weekend on 4K HDR. I'll
Man,
download it
that's
after
my
this finishes.
favorites.
Yeah, I've never seen it, bro.
Dude, that's his most underrated movie of all time.
Oh,
It's
shit.
amazing. That's
Monk-
that's the movie that gave me a fear of the ocean. By the way.
All right, don't say anything else.
Okay.
Munga says, "Is Doom Eternal your favorite video game?" Yes, it is. Doom Eternal. I have got a lot of games that I would put up there, like in terms of the greatest video games ever made. But I would argue that Doom Eternal is probably the best one I ever played. There was a strong argument for that. Yeah. So okay, moving on. How about, we've talked about the gameplay, we've talked about the story, we've talked about the lore, we've talked about the graphics. What do you think to the graphics? What do you think to the engine?
Well, when the game first, because I've been playing on a PS5 Pro, and it has like that dynamic resolution thing. Sometimes it runs at 1800p, which is close to 4K, but sometimes it like drops down in certain spots. I don't know, it's really weird. Like some levels look better than other levels.
Right. Yeah.
And I guess it's going to be different for you on. It's going to look different for you on PC.
Just
maybe.
bear in mind that at release the HDR was broken. You know about that. And in Eternal the HDR wasn't. So HDR in Eternal looks 10 times better than the Dark Ages. I hope that they'll patch this in the near future, and then we'll truly get like the bright colours and the dark blacks. Yeah,
I don't know what it is about the tone mapping, but I think even the STR looks a little funky to me.
I agree. It looks a little off, but aside from that, I think it's glorious. Oh my god, the Doomslayer looks so badass. Like, look at him right here on the main menu.
Yeah.
And the enemies. I think graphically I'm very happy with it. It's very much a Gears of War, a raw kind of gritty vibe, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about this id Tech 8 is its physics. The fact that you can shoot so many aspects of the environment and they just
walk
explode
through.
and they fall to the floor in like 20 different pieces. And the gore system, even though they took out a lot of the glory kills and stuff, it still feels like this weird thing where it really feels like you're fighting these things.
Yeah.
Because of the physics system feels so dynamic. And you just don't get that with Doom Eternal. Like I said, that was one of the most jarring things that I was missing with Doom Eternal, because I watched the interview with the tech guy with.
Yeah.
He did an interview with Digital Foundry recently.
Okay.
I forget the guy's name, but he's like the director of tech at id Software, and they were just going into like crazy detail about how the ray tracing stuff allowed them to do like real-time physics and real-time lighting and all this kind of stuff, to where like with Doom Eternal it was more baked into the code,
Right.
if that makes
Yeah.
any sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Like with
Mhm.
Doom Eternal, like there wasn't like a lot of real-time like lighting and stuff. Like I think when they released their ray tracing update, it added some of that stuff later. But with Doom
Right.
Eternal, it was all like baked stuff.
I understand.
Whereas
Yeah.
with the Dark Ages, like everything happens in real time. He was even talking about how even the cutscenes happen in real time, which I thought was crazy.
Yes, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that because you actually get that in Doom Eternal as well, and that's how you can defeat some very easily. You fire the BFG just as the cutscene starts, and it wipes out his two. It wipes out the Pain Elemental and the Dread Knight.
Right.
Yeah. Mongus says, I don't think I'm going to buy it. It's €80. I don't like the forced ray tracing. Maybe I will get it when it's on sale. Yeah, man, if you want to play modern games, like, you're going to need new hardware. You know, there's no point them putting off new tech to appease people with old, old hardware, because then you don't get any progress. And that's just the way it is. That's the way PC gaming has always been. When I think back to Half-Life 2, when that released, people were like, oh shit, I can't run this game. So you have two options: either upgrade your PC. No, three options: upgrade your PC, get it on console, and get the console, or just don't play it.
I mean, you can always play it on Game Pass.
Game Pass, yeah, you can get it on Game Pass for free if you have the subscription service.
And that also works with PC gaming, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe Game Pass is on PC as well. Somebody said that to me. I'm not sure. I don't have that. But, well, actually, no, there's more than three options. Game Pass is number 4, and number 5 is wait for it to be on sale. So there's a few options you've got there, and depending on your budget, you see, for this game, I prioritized this game over traveling and stuff, and over general lifestyle stuff. So all my budget went into my PC, and I did not need a 5090. You don't need a 5090 to run this game, by the way. My 3090 ran it perfectly. But I can now record in 4K and play the game at max settings at the same time, which I couldn't do on my 3090. So I'm happy. But yeah, Among Us, you'll be missing out on a great game. I'll put it that way. And €80 is a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but
I think our biggest disagreement has been the soundtrack, right?
That's not a disagreement. It's just you're way more into it than I am. I don't dislike it.
Right.
I just.
Right.
I haven't noticed
Maybe,
it.
Maybe you'll allow it to grow in you. That's what I'm hoping.
The last thing I think to talk about is the guns and the boss fights.
Oh yes.
And the shield, like, and when I say guns, I mean all the weapons, like gun, shield, and your mace, whatever. What's your favourite melee weapon?
I gotta love the. I don't even know what it's called. It's the big hammer thing you
Mace.
get at the end. Is it a mace?
Yeah.
All right. That fucking thing.
Kicks.
It's just you're just smacking people in the face and just
Right.
they're just exploding into a million pieces. It's amazing. Like it's really slow, and you can actually die trying to wind that thing up at times. But when you get the falter and you bring that thing out and it smacks a demon right in the it's extraordinarily satisfying.
But what about getting ammunition?
It's really weird. Like with the Dark Ages, I feel like it's very easy to get ammo back, but it's much harder to restack. Like if you got hit with something like if you missed a parry on like a cyber demon and your health is in the red, it's much harder in Dark Ages to get the health and armor back. But it's easy to get ammo and stuff. All you gotta do is do like a simple shield throw, and you get ammo back.
Oh,
You
do
know.
you?
Yeah, you just hit a bunch of fodder with your shield throw, and you'll get some ammo back. Not as much
Oh,
as a melee hit.
yeah,
Not as
yeah,
much as a melee hit, but yeah.
yeah.
So
That's true.
it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to run out of ammo.
Okay. Yeah, getting armor on this game is a lot harder, and getting health is a lot harder. I noticed, even if you not mace, flail a bunch of fodders, like 4 in a row, you'll get a little bit of armor, but you'll not be maxed out. You'll be like,
Not a lot. Yeah.
yeah, you not get a lot.
I actually think that using the gauntlet against cyber demons and stuff is actually more effective than using the flail. I find.
Possibly, yeah. I guess you get more armor from the gauntlet.
Well, no, I don't think you get any armor back. But the whole thing with the gauntlet is that kick.
Right.
That kick is a guaranteed falter on every demon.
Yeah.
And the other thing, you can actually save the kick. Like, you know how like you get like your first 2 hits are just regular punches or whatever.
Mhm.
And I think the third strike is always the kick. You can hit one demon twice and not do the melee again, and you can save the kick for another demon, which will falter him.
Oh, no
Immediately.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can do like a 1-2 punch and then kill him in some other way on one demon, and then when you do your first melee strike on the second demon, it'll immediately be like a kick, so you can immediately
Right.
falter him.
Okay, I didn't know about that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
In terms of getting health back, my preferred method is either pickups or the rocket launcher perk, cannibalism. And I'll get up to a tyrant or a Komodo dragon or a whatever, you name it. And I'll wait for the green, parry. I'll parry and then I'll just shoot that thing in the face. I'll get a little bit of health back that way. That's one of my favourite ways to do it. You can also shoot it at the ground. So you can get a green parry and then just shoot it at the ground and get health that way.
Right.
But it's a lot harder to come across health and armor in this game. So it matters more that you don't get hit. Getting hit on this game is extremely punishing on Nightmare. It's hard to get that shit back. It's hard. Even on Nightmare, like I'm quite good at the game now. And let's say I go up to a cyber demon and is the last enemy alive. Or is one of the last enemies alive. Typically, I'm close to death when I'm done with him. Because you'll get a little bit greedy with your melee shots. And then he'll hit you while you're trying to melee him. Or he'll do the spike thing on the floor right in front of himself. So, I think the main thing on this game is avoiding being hit.
Oh yeah.
Which is tough.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why they gave you the shield. And it's like there's been some people that have complained about the parrying, but it's like I don't know how you do a game like this and not have some form of parry system.
Yeah.
Because if you're just gonna have a game where you're just dodging stuff constantly, that gets boring quickly.
That would get really irritating really fast as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there has to be some form of parrying, and it's like
Yeah.
a lot of people don't like the colors and all this kind of stuff. It's like
What?
holy
You
shit.
can change the colour. That's such a weird thing.
Yeah.
You can change the colour in the settings.
As we've been talking about, people just bitch.
Eh.
I gotta bitch about everything.
Mongus says, problem is that the games that force ray tracing better look better than games that came out a couple of years ago, yet they are like 2 or 3 times more demanding. I mean, look at games like Arkham Knight. That game came out like a decade ago, and it looks like, yes, but, okay, some games were optimized to oblivion. That isn't a trend anymore. And I don't know why, but Doom the Dark Ages is very well optimized. I just told you, I was playing on a 3090 at max settings, and I was getting like 100 frames per second, I think. I don't know exactly what I was getting, don't quote me on that, because I didn't study my frame rate back then. But I was getting on a 5-year-old card, in Ultra Nightmare settings, buttery smooth. And recording in 1080p at the same time, buttery smooth. So Dark Ages is highly optimized considering what's out at the moment. But I do agree that there is a lot more room for improvement. Like I'm running a 5090, I should be getting like 500 frames per second, and I'm not. I'm getting about 120 whilst recording in 4K, which is, I'm more than happy with that. But for 5090, I should be getting like 500 frames per second. So it is unfortunate. That's a current trend. It's just the way it is at the moment, I'm afraid. Because like Arkham Knight, wasn't that Xbox 360? So if you released...
I think so.
So when Xbox 360 came out, Gears of War maximized all of the hardware they had available, and it looked incredible. Even today, it still looks good.
I think Arkham Asylum was 360. I think Arkham Knight was probably
Xbox
PS4
One
era.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
But they were highly
I actually
optimized.
I didn't play that one actually.
They were highly optimized, but I think they were mainly console game. Like they were designed around console. And sure, with games like Doom it's console and a PC. So to optimize a game around 3 different platforms, one of which, PC comes in so many different like shapes and sizes, it's very, very, very hard to do. It's not impossible. I'm not making excuses, but it's tough. It's a lot easier to optimize an exclusive title. A lot easier, I think.
Yeah, and the other thing, I think when people think of ray tracing, they think of reflections, and I think I would recommend anyone watch that Digital Foundry interview that the director of tech at id Software, where he talks about how the ray tracing is what allows this physics system. It's what allows like all the enemies on the screen at one time. Like that's really where the demand. That's really where the demand comes in, because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Like there's, how many demons on screen at one time would you say?
Yeah. There's sometimes like
crazy amounts.
Crazy amount. It's like Serious Sam. It's not just about ray tracing. It's not just like, oh, they want some fancy lighting, so we have to upgrade. It's not just that. It's okay. Everything's improved. Like everything's improved. And it might not look like it yet, but it will do soon.
Yeah, like it's not one of those things, like when you boot up the Dark Ages, like you're not going to be necessarily wowed with how like sharp and, like it's not one of those kind of games. Like the genius in that game's tech specs are really in the physics and how many enemies are on screen, how you're interacting with the environment.
Actually,
like literally, you can take you can take your shield and you can throw it at like a light source in the game, and it will just bounce all over the fucking place, just like real life. And the light will bounce back and forth just like it does in real life. That's where most of the genius comes in.
It's funny you say that though, because every time I boot this game up, my jaw drops. Maybe I'm running on better hardware than you, or I don't know, but every time I boot this game up, I'm in awe of the graphics. The golden shotgun. Oh my! I'm like, holy fuck, this looks good. It
looks good, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it doesn't look good. I'm just saying you kind of have to look deeper
than that
to see the real effects of id Tech 8.
Yeah. I'm happy with the graphics. I'm a bit of a fanboy, admittedly, but taking that out of it, I got the same feeling playing this game as I did Gears of War. I was jawed up by the graphics. It did look a little washed out, but I tweaked my settings and now it looks great. So Mongus says Batman Arkham Knight had one of the worst PC ports of all time, to the point they had to delist the game on Steam so they could fix the optimization, and then they relisted it. Now the game runs really well. That's my point. That game was not designed for PC. It was designed for consoles. So on consoles, it looked amazing. Gears of War was the same. Gears of War PC port, I don't think you can even run it anymore. It just doesn't work, because PC is an entirely different architecture and different hardware, and to make stuff optimized for console and PC, so you've got PlayStation hardware, Xbox hardware, Switch hardware, PC hardware, incredibly hard to do. If it was an exclusive and Doom the Dark Ages was only out on, say, Xbox, I'm telling you, it would probably look a hell of a lot better and play a hell of a lot better, because they're only dealing with one piece of hardware. But I'm not making excuses because optimization has gone down over the years, and there's many examples of games that came out on everything. But think of Half-Life 2. That was PC only for a long time. That was just a PC game, and if you didn't have PC, that's it. Tough luck. They then ported it to Xbox, but the port was kind of... It felt way too clunky to me. But people forget that back in the day, we didn't have it easy either. If you wanted to play Half-Life 2, you had to fucking save some money up and buy a PC that could run it. They didn't port it to PlayStation, and well, back then it was PS2, I think. But it's always been tough to enjoy the games. You've always had to buy the latest hardware and make an effort. And I don't know. I feel like as much as optimization's gone down, people have got way too lazy as well. Like, they forget how hard it was back in the day to play a game at full settings on PC. It was tough, You had to really go out of your way. Like, I remember, you've obviously remember the Crysis days. Like, oh my god, Crysis, photorealistic.
Hey man,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just on my end. Your voice is breaking up a little bit.
My voice is breaking up. That's strange.
Is it just on my end? Like, I can mostly hear what you're saying, but sometimes, like, words, like, I can't hear certain words
Let me
because
just-
it's breaking up or something.
Let me check my internet connection. Internet's fine. Hey, Mongus, how's the stream? Is it good?
It could just be me.
I don't think I'm overheating. Because I'm on the game menu, you see it's running the GPU at full whack.
Maybe, like, are you sometimes holding the microphone away from your mouth or something?
No.
Okay.
Mongus says
I don't know
it's fine. Yeah.
Oh, okay, this is just on my end.
Let me know if it changes.
Could be like a Discord thing or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all good though. I can hear you fine now.
So Mongus says, one recently released game, Kingdom, that is well optimized, is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That game looks amazing and is really well optimized on release. Well, that's awesome that they've done that. Hats off to them. Is that PC only though? A lot easier to optimize a game that's only on PC, or is it multi-platform?
No, it's
Multi-platform.
it's a multi-platform. Yeah.
In that case, they did a great job. Hats off to them. I mean, the difference there.
I would argue that the Dark Ages is more optimized for PC than it is for consoles.
I agree.
I would say.
Yeah. Half-Life 2 was well optimized, and it was way ahead of every game back then in terms of graphics and physics. It was optimized, bro, but you needed a decent setup to run it. It wasn't like you could use your mum's computer from 20 years ago and play that game. Half-Life 1 was the same. That ran on the Quake engine. You still needed a fairly decent PC. But yeah, there is a trend in optimization lacking, and it is annoying. It is annoying. I will agree with you on that one, to be honest.
Yeah, and also I think that id Software is working at a much higher level than the rest of the industry, I would say.
Yeah, and who knows?
I would say like in terms of like the tech and the physics stuff, I don't think there's any other game company that is talented as id Software.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that from any like fanboy standpoint. I'm simply saying that from like there's no other game developer that can put out the kind of games that they're putting out right now.
I think the only one I can compare, and we're talking plural here, not singular, is the Dark Souls games. I don't play them. I've played a couple of them, and I never got to the end because, I just wasn't that much into gaming at the time. But
FromSoft, yeah.
I've been told Elden Ring is fucking amazing, and it's the same guys that made the Dark Souls games. I would like maybe those guys. But in terms of first-person shooters, Valve was the king for a while, and if they do release Half-Life 3, because Half-Life Alyx kicked ass apparently, that would be a contender for id Software. But I would say id Software is the current king of the first-person shooter tech.
I think Valve has not been relevant with making games since Half-Life 2, and that was how.
Oh no!
That was a long time ago, man.
Valve made Left 4 Dead. Don't forget.
Oh yeah, true.
Left 4
True.
Dead and Left 4 Dead
But
2 are in
still,
my top 10 of all time.
Left 4
Fucking
Left
great
4 Dead
games.
2, that's even been a long time ago, though.
2009. Yeah.
Yeah.
16 years ago. But Valve did make Half-Life Alyx, and although it's VR and I haven't got a VR setup, I have been told that it's brilliant. Like, it's really good. But yeah, they can't be taken seriously at this time. They're not game developers currently, are they? But Portal, Portal 2.
I have a feeling that Half-Life 3 will be disappointing. I have a feeling.
Well, if it even comes out, I doubt it will.
I think it's going to come out. Yeah, I've heard some rumors that it's currently being worked on.
Yeah.
They're just rumors, but I did hear that.
I don't think it'll be disappointing. We'll disagree on that one, bro.
The only reason why I say that is I think a lot of the people that made the original 2 games, they don't even work there anymore. So
That's true, but that's not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's not always a bad thing. Sometimes you get talent that's
see.
even better. It's rare. It's rare, but sometimes
Yep, true.
sometimes new guys, they come up with stuff older guys didn't think of. I would imagine it would be like Half-Life Alyx, longer game, beautiful story, and it would be incredible tech. I can only imagine, like, the tech would be incredible.
Yeah.
This is all speculation. But I'm a huge fan of Half-Life. They did a great job with both games, and Alyx apparently as well. A huge fan of Left 4 Dead. Two of
Oh
my favourite games of all time. Left 4 Dead
Left
to
4
this
Dead
day.
2 is yeah.
Left 4 Dead 1 to this day is, oh God, almost got number 1 spot. In 2008, we'll go back in time. We should call this podcast Back to the Future. We'll go back in time again to 2008. I'd got an Xbox 360. I'd played Gears of War to death. To death, I got the Seriously achievement on that bad boy. That was 10,000 kills in ranked matches. We played 16 hours in one night. We played 16 hours non-stop. Anyway, I digress. 2008 Left 4 Dead came out. My friend says, like, oh, dude, you got to play this game. I'm like, what? It's this zombie game, and you got to survive, but it's co-op. Already I'm like thinking, that's right on my street. I love co-op. You know I love co-op. I played the demo of that game, and for the rest of the day, I was just this feeling of euphoria. I was like, oh my God. Finally, somebody made a zombie game that's good. Like, I couldn't put that shit down. I played that thing on expert, co-op, solo. I played that shit to death. It was an incredible game, and it was so simple. The story was non-existent. It's like, oh, okay, with three of the guys, you got to shoot the zombies, you got to survive. And fuck, some of the fun we had on that game. So credit to Valve.
Left 4 Dead 2 is probably the greatest co-op game ever made. I would say.
The only reason I say Left 4 Dead over Left 4 Dead 2 is because that was my first experience with Left 4 Dead, and you had Francis, and it was all at night. Okay, all the levels in Left 4 Dead were at night, and Left 4 Dead 2 at daytime, right? But it's neck and neck, dude. They're both great, you know.
And I think another factor that they don't give Left 4 Dead enough credit for is how funny the games are. Like, they're hilarious.
Oh my
The stuff
God.
the characters say throughout the game is hilarious. It's fucking hilarious, man.
Even the stuff that's not designed to be funny, you could see a lot of Team Fortress 2 inspiration. Like, the stuff that's not even funny, like, defibrillator here! Defibrillator here! Defibrillator here! Hey!
Awesome.
There's ammo! Oh, what did he used to say? What did he say when there's ammo?
I want to see if I'm the only person that remembers this. Did anyone play
Reloading!
Yeah.
Sorry.
Doom 3 on Xbox? Did anybody own that?
No, I played Doom 3 on PC.
Okay.
I
Doom
prefer the
3
original.
Doom 3 on Xbox had a co-op mode. Did you know that?
No?
Yeah, it had a co-op mode
What?
where you could play through the whole experience with somebody else. It was awesome.
I'm just going to interrupt you here because I don't want to ignore chat. Just 1 second.
Okay.
FromSoft and Valve are still goated. Agreed. Can we agree that no matter what Valve is still fucking goated? Not the goat currently, but it's basically the Michael Jordan of fucking, first-person shooters.
Yeah, I mean, Half-Life 2 revolutionized the
yeah,
industry, I would
Yeah.
say.
yeah. But so is id Software.
I just,
So
yeah.
go ahead.
FromSoft, I love their stuff. I think that FromSoft recently is kind of going down a negative path of online
I'm
shit.
going to interrupt you right here. I'm sorry. I'm going to admit this. I'm an honest person. I don't know who FromSoft
Okay.
is.
Oh, they make Dark Souls.
They're the guys behind Demon Souls,
Bloodborne.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, huge fan of Demon Souls. I never beat it because I wasn't into gaming at the time. I was more into like life stuff. But I'm going to go back to it one day because fuck me, that was the best game I'd played in years at the time. So difficult. I loved it.
Bloodborne's the best one, by the way.
Okay, well, Demon Souls.
Definitely the best one.
I remember at the time PS5 had just come out. I got one. Managed to get one. That's another fucking story. But we managed to. I don't. No, I shouldn't really say this on stream. But we managed to get code from the website and put it back in the website so that we got to the front of the queue. And that was completely legal, I'm sure. But there was. You remember you'd try and buy one and it was like queue would be like fucking 16 hours, and we figured a way that we got access to the front of the queue. So I got a PS5 fairly early compared to most people. So I was playing Demon Souls and I remember thinking, this is a game. Like, just to get past the first level is taking me days. You know? Yeah.
Demon Souls is one of the easier ones, actually, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Dark Souls 1 is brutal. Dark Souls 1, I would say, is one of the strongest ones.
Okay.
Dark Souls 1 is amazing.
We'll not go on too much of a tangent with this because there's a few people talking. But I'll just say the one negative of Demon Souls is when I realised that you could just go back to a previous area and level up over and that really turned me off. I was like, no, I want it to be punishingly difficult all the way through, so that when I get to the end, I feel like I'm a superhero. And when I realised you could just go back and fucking XP by doing the same level over and over, I lost a lot of interest. So in Dark Souls 1, can you not do that?
You can do that, yeah. I mean, they're. I mean, that's not something that you have to do. It's only something that you can do if you want to do it. You know what I mean?
It just makes it too easy for me.
Yeah, you still have to learn how to, especially when you're playing through a Bloodborne. Leveling up will only get you so far. You really have to learn the game. You know, you could be you could be an extremely high level and still die to certain areas. You got to learn how to play the game for sure.
Okay, good. Monga says, if you like co-op, then you need to play Deep Rock Galactic Rock and Stone. Never heard of that, but I'll check it out.
Say it again?
Deep Rock Galactic Rock and Stone.
Oh.
We'll check it out for sure.
Yeah, I think I have heard of that game, but I've never tried it out.
Yeah. Ken says, good evening, what did I miss? We've just been discussing the Dark Ages in depth. We've discussed everything. We've compared it to movies and stuff as well. And we've discussed... Yeah,
so I guess we probably need to circle back to
the Dark Ages. Why are you talking about random topics like your homie has been playing with you for more than 5 hours straight? I'm not going to say anything, I'm just curious. Not 5 hours. I'd say we're just about the 3 hour mark now. And we're comparing...
Going a while, yeah.
We're comparing stuff to the Dark Ages. So we were comparing how Valve was similar to id Software and how much they innovated. And we were talking about how... what was it? Optimization of games and how Doom the Dark Ages is kind of optimized, but they could do a much better job. But yeah, anyway, so moving on to...
And I was going to say, we certainly don't have to cover everything in one episode. We can always come back and do a second episode.
Oh, well don't worry, we'll do another one when we play against some more, but there's just a couple more things I want to go over. just carrying on with the weapons. So your favorite is the mace. What's your favorite weapons in terms of overall weapons?
Chain shot.
Chain
is
shot.
My go-to.
What's your top
Yeah.
3 weapons?
SSG, chain shot, and impaler probably.
SSG, chain shot.
Those are the
Yeah.
those are the 3 weapons. Well, I have 4 weapons set to hotkeys. I have the cycler, the SSG, the chain shot, and the impaler.
Okay.
The
yeah.
impaler can be devastating against like cyber demons and those hunter guys with the big swords. What are they called?
Agadon hunters.
The big dudes with the yeah.
Yeah.
Like because
Yeah.
if you get the mastery for that weapon, each time you get a parry, it empowers your shot.
Yeah.
So if you get a headshot
Yeah.
with that weapon, it does
Yeah.
massive damage, dude. It's
What, the impaler?
It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. If you look at my boss fights, that's how I took on Azrak and the Witch and the enhanced Azrak. And that was, I swear on this, right? I hadn't seen any other footage at that point. I didn't look at another YouTuber and go, oh, that's the best weapon to use. That came naturally to me. And then I looked at another guy called Devo, and he was playing through the game at 150% Nightmare, and he was doing the same shit. So it's like we both realised that that's the best gun for that situation. Because when you parry, it makes the next shot more powerful, right? So, very powerful gun.
And the good thing about the chain shot against bosses and stuff is you don't have to get as close.
Yeah.
Like and if you hit him with a charged up chain shot, it does massive damage too.
What? Which Azrak you mean?
Against
anything.
Anything.
Okay, yeah.
A charged shot
yeah.
does massive. Like it, I would say a charged shot from the chain shot probably does as much damage as an up close SSG shot does.
Yeah. Yeah, so Ken, this is a podcast, by the way. We're not playing the game tonight, we're just discussing the game. Oh, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, my favourites would have to be Super Shotgun. I can't even think of the weapons now. Impaler, definitely. Impaler, Super Shotgun. Rocket Launcher, I think. I really like the rocket launcher.
I would say the most useless weapon that I haven't learned how to use is probably the grenade launcher. I just don't ever use it.
Grenade launcher does come in handy for Mancubus when they're firing the projectiles at you. You fire it over the projectiles and it goes over them, then it falls on the head and kills them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And also, if there's a lot of fodders, you can kind of just spam it around the fodders.
The only thing about the arch thing is the impaler also does that, so I think it's still a better way taking a Mancubus, because that kind of like arches over things.
Unless you're low on ammo,
and
then you got to switch. That's the thing. Like if you're low on ammo, these guns will all come in handy for different things. But
I will say,
uh-huh.
and I said this earlier, the 2 things people are sleeping on with the Dark Ages, it's the shield rune with the turret.
Yeah.
Because when that's mastered, with each parry, you're just going to be getting health back. It's going to be funneling health back to you. And people are sleeping on the combat shotgun because that gives you constant armor back.
On the first one, I don't think they're sleeping on it. They're just playing around. Like, for example, I'll change my shield rune to something else just to see what happens. Not even though it's not necessarily the best. But I do agree that the combat shotgun, people forget about that. People forget that exists.
Yeah.
You know, that's the armor bonus gun.
Not only does it give you armor back, but if you get that 3-shot burst, it does really good damage.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite as good as an up close SSG shot, but that triple shot, along with giving you armor back, is really fucking good, man.
Yeah, yeah. I like how they made the shotgun not redundant by making it the ammo booster. You know, you don't really use it a lot in Eternal, apart from if you see a Kako.
And dude, the whole thing with the turret, I don't see anybody using it ever.
Well, it's because they're experimenting, I think. Because the turret, when I
Yeah.
picked that up, I was like, this is clearly fucking badass. But I want to see what the other things do first. But yeah, the turret is insane. Especially when it's upgraded. Oh my god.
And it's not going to give you like major damage, really. It's just like the whole great thing about it is that it's with each parry, you're getting a pretty good amount of health back.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay, so you're getting health and you're kicking ass. Wow. Yeah. Let's see. So we talked about the shields, and we talked about.
I'm going to say one thing that would make the game better that id Software definitely needs to do.
Yeah.
They need to make it how you can quickly alternate between melee options without having to go into the menu. Like,
Yeah.
imagine doing 2 hits with the gauntlet and then having your 3rd hit be a mace shot. Having being able to mix and match
that'd be
in
overpowered.
the middle
Though.
of combat.
Yeah.
Oh, it would be so much fun, though, man. Come on, it'd be awesome. You could bang, bang, and then take your mace out with like a 3-hit combo. Yeah.
But how would they recharge that then? Because then like, it's overpowered. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah.
they would do it, but I think they could definitely make it work.
Yeah.
Because I think the fact that you have to go into the menu and change that every time
annoying.
limits. Yeah, it's just like, and I think it would make like instead of doing the like all the quick swapping stuff,
Yeah.
you could do this thing where you're just constantly mixing and matching your melee options.
Yeah, and also to change the gun upgrade as well.
Change what?
Change
that?
change the gun upgrade so that where you've got like the 2 options for some of them. You could be like kicking ass and then
Oh
get
yeah.
the burnout for the shotgun and then switch it to with the exploder.
Yeah, and I don't know why they did that, because nobody likes that, like switching to shotgun and you have to cycle between 2 different shotguns. Like
Yeah.
nobody wants that. I don't know why. I don't know why they did that.
So it's not too complicated for people, probably.
I guess.
Yeah. They probably play test it and people are probably like, oh man, this is too much.
I guess.
Yeah. I'm just going to go through the options. Shotgun, super shotgun, accelerator, cycler. There's the, how do you call it? Shredder, impaler. There's the grenade launcher, rocket launcher, BFC.
The shredder is a weapon that I don't hardly ever use either.
Okay, so the shredder is very good at heating up an enemy shield.
Yeah.
So you can use the cycler, but let's say you want to use different ammunition. It's really precise. So if you've got, especially on Ultra Nightmare, if you've got like a chain gunner and you want to disable a shield from a distance, you can shoot the shredder. When it's fully upgraded, especially, it's perfectly accurate. Just and then throw your shield. So I do use it quite a lot actually.
Yeah, I was. You mentioned Devo earlier. I was watching him. He actually likes the shredder a lot,
I do.
and he gets he has an upgrade. I forget the name of it, but you fire it on one enemy and it ricochets onto any other enemy that's
Ricochet.
that's near the main enemy that you're. Ricochet. That's what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, he loves that.
That is really fucking cool, but I don't think that's enough to make me use it, because I just use the impaler all the time, man.
Yeah, it's just to mix it up a bit. And also the pin
Yeah.
cushion's badass as well. So the pin cushion, you fire the shredder at an enemy, then he starts to glow yellow. When he glows yellow, you throw his shield at him and he
Oh
explodes.
yeah, right.
That's
Yeah,
fun. The only
Yeah.
weapon I would say was completely redundant to me was the accelerator, but now they patched that, so I'll probably start using that too. But you think to yourself,
The other thing-
well, why would I use that when I've got the accelerator? The
Cycler.
cycler.
Yeah.
But it's
One thing I was
it's a more agile
confused
weapon.
by, was the Ravager, and what's the first
Yeah,
version called?
no. So the Ravager's the advanced one, the skull.
Pulverizer?
Pulverizer, yeah. So the pulverizer,
Yeah.
if you want to remember, the pulverizer is an open hand, so it looks like this. So just think of a thumb, okay? The Ravager is like that; it's closed.
Yeah.
So when you switch,
And they actually nerfed the Ravager recently. Did you know that?
Yeah, I'm fucking pissed off that I didn't play around with that when it was overpowered. Because Devo was using
Oh,
that and
dude.
it was insane.
Yeah, that would delete bosses, man. Very, very
Oh.
quickly.
Can I roll back to a previous
'Cause when it,
version just to test it out?
yeah, because when it like when the Ravager like glows blue,
Yeah,
you're doing like massive
I
damage,
know.
man.
I know. And I saw Devo use it before it was patched, and I'm like, shit, I didn't get to try that out.
I will say about the pulverizer is it's probably the best crowd control gun in the game because it
Yeah,
has such a wide spread, man. It just takes out like a whole wide spread of uh, fodder enemies and stuff like that. But I think they should have made them look more different from the other.
I
I think
know.
they look they look too similar.
I know. I agree. You're like, which one have I
You
got
know?
now? And then that's when I realised one has the
Yeah.
thumb out, one has the thumb out, and that's the weaker one. Uh,
It's almost like they couldn't figure out like a different design for the Ravager. Maybe
yeah,
they should have made it. They should change the look of it. I think.
fair enough. Yeah, but yeah, I think, like I said, rocket launcher, super shotgun, and
The only time I
Impaler are
use
my
rocket
favourite.
launcher, I think the rocket launcher is my preferred method of taking out the
Cyber demons.
cacodemons.
Cacodemons, okay. Well, it's great for getting health
Cyber
back.
demon, no, yeah. I'd much rather use either the SSG or
Go up
Impaler on
to
cyber demons.
get up close and personal with a cyber demon, and instead of using the SSG, use a rocket launcher, and not only do you kill him faster, but you also get health back. If you have the perk on for
It gives you health back, yeah.
it gives you health
Yeah.
back, and go and get the one that increases the splash damage. And after his days, he's bang bang, shield, bang bang, shield, and he's pretty much dead. It's real good. You got it. It's more timing than the shotgun. It takes a bit better timing though.
I tell you what, man, you haven't experienced a cyber demon until you fight one on Nightmare max speed. Holy shit!
I think I did. No, I haven't had a cyber
Oh
demon. No,
man,
no. I played the
like
first
because
level.
they're not.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. The cyber demons on max speed will just bend you over, and
brutal.
you know the
Yeah?
rest. Like it's so much. They're so much more dangerous, man.
Oh my god.
Because when you're like further away from them and they start firing their chain shot or whatever at you, like you have to get up close quick. Very, very. And if you miss a parry, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You miss a parry with them, you're just absolutely fucked.
Yeah. I tried that 150%, and some of the advanced players make it look fun because it doesn't even look like it's in fast forward mode. But it feels like I'm watching a movie in fast forward at the moment. So after a couple more playthroughs, I'll maybe get used to it and maybe I'll enjoy it more. But I thought it was fun.
Yeah, well,
I just thought it was a bit
I
weird.
think the reason it feels that way because they haven't fixed the glitch where it like all like the dialogue is sped up.
Right.
It shouldn't be like that. That's actually a bug that they're gonna fix.
Okay. It just felt weird. It just felt weird to me. But it might grow on me. A few more playthroughs, I might love it.
You'll be messing with it soon.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
And then, so we talked about the weapons. We talked about the melees. The last thing is what's your preferred shield rune?
Well, I kind of alternate between daggers and what's the last one you get?
It's called Heaven's Spawn, or Heaven's something.
Splitter, right?
Heaven's Splitter or something, and that's the electric.
Splitter, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn between this, dude, because when it comes to the daggers, when they're mastered, they just kill everything. Like they just annihilate things.
The daggers do annihilate stuff, but it doesn't feel as cool. I prefer.
True. Yeah. True.
I think the coolest for me is the electricity one, because when you combine that with the cycler and you select all the shock upgrades, you're basically fucking Thor. You know, you go around, everything's like frying to death and exploding all over the place. That's my favorite by far.
And also, like if you are playing on max speed, being able to stun enemies is so good.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because everything is moving so fast. Like that's really a good way to have like a breather is by using that shield rune
Yeah.
that just like stuns everything.
And also, if the BFC fight, if instead of using the BFC, you use normal weapons, the first rune is the best one for that. The Swarm or whatever, Holy Swarm or whatever.
Yeah.
The first one you get, because then you get armor back. And I haven't seen anybody do it. I know guys have released videos about it. I'm well aware of that. I haven't watched them. So unless I know something different, I did beat that yesterday on stream on Nightmare. And I used
somebody
the
do
first
what again?
rune.
Sorry, your
the
voice cut out a
first
little bit there for
the
me.
first BFC rune.
Oh.
Sorry, the first BFC encounter.
Oh.
So instead of
You're
firing,
talking about like, yeah.
so you pick up the BFC, you fire it once, and then it spawns the enemies. And then if you stand there and fight all the enemies, I found, but I haven't done much experimentation. But the first shield rune is the best because you get armor back. But it's a tough old encounter. I haven't seen anybody else do it though. I know people have done it. I'm well aware of that. But I like to do my own style without it being influenced by others.
Yeah, I've actually seen another glitch that you. I don't know how this is possible, but you can actually walk on foot during the mech segments.
Right.
Somehow, like I've seen people walking on foot as the Slayer. Like I don't know if you can really fight anything that way, but it's kind of funny.
You can't progress either, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, you just get fucking stepped on. You get fucking squashed.
Yeah, the trouble with being a YouTuber is by the time you come up with an idea, somebody's already done it. I was about to release a video about the skins that are on eBay, and that's a completely different podcast.
Dude, you don't even get me started on these skins that they're doing because I'll just go on a rant about it.
Yeah, but I found on eBay, like, the skin that comes with the 5080, somebody's selling it for like 1,700. I was about to release a video about it and saying, like, skins are now have a market. And then I looked today and, like, somebody had already done it. I was like, motherfucker. And if you're not first, then you're last on YouTube. Like, if somebody's already put it out there, the algorithms are with them. Like, the algorithm's like, fuck you, this guy's already done it. If you are the first to put it out there, then usually you're good, you know?
Can I hook my other headset up? Your voice is breaking out really bad for me for some reason. I think it may have to do with my headphones, maybe.
Yeah, see if it's your headphones or see if it's me.
Give me a second, all right?
All right.
Can you hear me yet, or no?
Yep.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I'm just gonna see if it still does it with these. A different mic. Anyway, what were you saying? Sorry.
I don't know. I can't remember what we were talking about.
Yeah, sorry. I ruined the flow there.
It's all right. But yeah.
Talk about the shield runes. Oh, it's on that.
Talking about how
shield runes.
how YouTube is basically the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. So I was going to do a video about the skins that are for sale on eBay, and then I looked today, somebody had already done it. So you get like 6 hours once you come onto something that you know no one else is doing. You get about 6 hours. I've worked out roughly. If by then you haven't posted a video, somebody else will do it. So the first person to figure out you could. All right, brother. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed.
Easy, man.
So the walking on the Titan levels, on the Atlan levels, the walking on it as a Slayer. Whoever was first to see that will get a shit ton of views probably. So it's frustrating when you're trying to grow your channel because you'll think, oh, nobody's done that yet, and then you go to do it, and then somebody's already done it. Like, fuck, you know.
Yeah. The other thing is there are certain YouTubers that are definitely favored among id Software You know, like there's certain ones.
Yeah,
Not gonna mention any names.
Mayo was
Not
favored.
gonna
Yeah.
not gonna mention any names here, but I think there's certain ones that are favored that probably don't deserve it. But anyway.
You'll get that with anything, though. It's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's favoritism in every area of life. I'll not go into anything either, but yeah. I don't know why certain people are favored. I don't know what the logic is behind it. I don't know if they know them in real life, if they know somebody who works there. But I will say I haven't found a link between people saying positive things about the game and being favored. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people who criticize the shit out of id Software's games, and they get a lot of attention.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Doom Eternal and the Dark Ages is very much a polarizing game, where it's like I feel like it's like you have your people like us that love it more than anything, but then you have this other crowd that just fucking hates it, dude.
Right.
And it's like I almost feel like that's what art should be. Because if you make something that everyone loves, isn't that kind of fucking boring?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's that way, because then it's more polarizing.
Well, yeah, because like that just shows that as a studio, you're still taking chances.
Yeah, you're not playing it safe.
Yeah. Because they easily could have made Doom 2016 Part 2, Doom 2016 Part 3.
Yeah.
They could have easily done that.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't, because
Well,
you know what? As top of the line game developers, we want to challenge ourselves.
Yeah.
Therefore, we want to challenge our audience.
Absolutely.
In the process there.
Yeah. And
there's one thing that I wanted to ask you about the game. What is your favorite enemy? Like, not really to fight. Like, what's your favorite enemy design from like a visual standpoint?
in the Dark Ages,
yeah,
I would say my favorite enemy design, probably the Revenant.
I was gonna say that too. Yeah. I love how he looks in this one. He's so badass.
Badass with the black.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the collectibles my favorite too. So if they release those on Bethesda Store, I'll definitely buy the Revenant one.
Yeah. And dude, there were people on Twitter saying that the Revenant's change of design was woke.
Huh?
I don't ask me. That was a narrative, like right before the Dark Ages came out and they showed what the new Revenant looks like.
Yeah,
they were literally saying that it's a woke game design.
I'm not a fan of woke.
Now, how much fuck?
But some people are way too far with that shit. Some people take it way too far.
Yeah, but that doesn't even make any fucking sense.
No, it doesn't. That's my point.
Why is he woke? Because he has a hood on. He has a hood on. I don't get it.
Yeah, that's guys who were incels who were so fucking red pilled they forgot that there's a life outside of fucking Reddit. That's basically what that is.
Well, I think it's one of those things where when you start calling everything woke, it loses its meaning completely.
In terms of doing the Dark
I mean?
Ages, I haven't seen anything that's woke. I can't think of anything in the game that's woke.
I mean, I think if you really wanted to nitpick, you could say the Thera, like trying to force her.
Yeah, she's a bit of
a
a boss bitch, and King Novik looks like a bit of a fucking weak, like, a has-been James Bond type character, you know.
A little bit.
But that's really nitpicking.
Yeah, like Thera didn't really bother me at all. I just think that her fucking voice actor is awful, and they need to change that immediately.
Yeah. But I think the last thing to say about it is favorite level and favorite boss fight.
Well, my favorite boss, I would say, is the Creed Maker. Honestly.
Okay. Yeah. Dr. Robotnik.
I don't know. I don't know what it is about that fight.
It's fun.
I just, I just like beating up Tubby, man. What can I say?
Yeah. Somebody commented on one of my videos and they're like, "Oh, if you die on this guy, then you like there's something wrong with you." And I felt like that's the elitist shit I don't fucking like. Because, well, no, because if you're not very good at first-person shooters, you might die. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be allowed to play it. But I found that really fun.
Right. No, I think like as far as bosses are concerned, I think the Dark Lord fight on Tag 2 I thought was dog shit. I hate everything about that boss fight, and I think they really improved upon that in Dark Ages. I actually look forward to the boss battles.
Every single boss fight in Doom the Dark Ages I loved. They did a great job on the bosses. It's hard for me to pick a favourite, but because my favourite character is Azrak, I would say that the very final boss is my favourite when he's back in his original form. And he's like fucked. He's like, shit. Witch is dead. Witch is gone. Just me.
And I just realized I actually said that the Revenant was my favorite. I had forgot. That's actually my second favorite.
Azrak.
The Cosmic Baron.
Oh.
The fucking Cosmic Baron is awesome.
You love the Cosmic Baron.
I love his design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
He's creepy looking, man.
I don't like the Cosmic Baron, but yeah, Revenant and Azrak. And favorite level for me, shit. Favorite level. That's a tough one, bro.
I think the first Cosmic Realm level is probably my favorite.
The one I just did. Yeah, that's a good one. I like how simple that is.
I forget the name of it.
It's
just like it's really trippy, and it's even kind of scary in parts. Like I think, like I said earlier, I have this really irrational fear of deep water in the ocean. That part where you're swimming down, like actually freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, that reminds me of Zen in Half-Life. So, God, I'm trying to think of the levels. I would say for now my favourite is the Holy City of whatever with the dragon, the first dragon level.
Oh,
it's just so much fun.
Level 4, right?
What's it called?
Level 4, right?
Yeah. It's just so much fun. Is it Aratum? Holy City of Aratum or something? It's so much fun when you do those sections, then you jump back on the dragon, and the cutscene when he goes flying.
It's Atrium, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun, that level. Jumping back on the dragon, and then you're off again, and boom, boom. Oh, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I think the first Siege level is also another highlight, too.
That's good if you're in the mood for
Siege
it.
1.
Yeah. You got to be in the mood for that one because it's quite big. It takes a while, but
yeah, sure.
If you're flagging a bit, it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, like it's pretty quick for me now because I know where everything is.
Yeah.
I can kind of run through.
Speed run it.
But there is one fight in that level that always gives me trouble in the first Siege level.
All right, let me guess which one it is. From the start, you turn slightly to the right, and it's like the cyber demon, and there's a, you know what I mean?
Say it again. Sorry.
From the start, you go slightly to the right and forwards, and it's like a mini boss battle. There's like one of those ammo things, ammo leaders or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's the one to the left actually that always gives me trouble.
Which bit?
Because the cyber demon will just spawn
behind you,
the opposite end. Yeah, and you have to race back down to that other side. Like it's much easier. Like if you're just hanging out back there and you can just like meet him like the second he spawns down there.
Yeah.
But if you're on the opposite side, you have to run down to the other side, and the leader demon will be chucking stuff at you the entire time, and you'll get hit in the back with one of those attacks.
Yeah,
the opposite side.
that's kind of tough, but you've got a lot of stuff to hide behind there. Yeah, I know which bit you mean. It's a tough level.
But then you have those. Then you have like when you kill the cyber demon, you have those nightmare imps that spawn. And I always forget they're there.
Yeah,
And holy shit,
they do damage.
yeah,
My
and they
God.
can like lunge. They can lunge at you from half the map, dude.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous.
You sound like DSP now.
I think like if there's
I'm joking.
if there's one enemy that they probably need to nerf a little bit, it would be that guy. I would say.
Yeah, the nightmare imp. That's one thing that could get you fucking raging because he just comes out and the parry's so fast as well. So you see green and then you like hit. You're like fuck. Like.
Well, yeah, I think the only thing that they should do is make him a little more visible than what he is. Because like I know he's supposed to be cloaked and everything, but they need to make him a little more visible than that, because unless you know exactly where they're going to be and when they're going to spawn, you're not going to realize they're there, and like, and they're just going to fuck your day up.
Yeah. It's a tough game. People who say it's easy are full of shit. There's easy sections throughout it, thank God, on Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare, Pandemonium, whatever. But on Nightmare, there are sections that even now, after 70 hours, I still struggle with. So
yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird thing, because like there weren't many arenas where like I spent like 20 minutes trying to beat, but
Okay.
I feel like it's almost easier to die in Dark Ages.
yeah, it is.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
You die fast.
Like I feel like in Doom Eternal, there's more times where you're going to be stuck on a singular fight for longer periods of time.
Uh-huh.
But in the Dark Ages, it feels easier to die.
Yeah.
I guess because in Doom Eternal, it's easy to get that reset.
Restack. Yeah.
Right?
Flame Belch, Ice Blast,
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
Whereas, like, if you're playing Dark Ages and you miss a parry on a Cyber Demon and you have 0 health,
You're
good luck
fucked.
getting that back, right?
Yeah. That's where the rocket launcher comes in handy.
Yeah.
The hardest part for me so far what is the Abyssal Forest, about halfway through. You know what I mean? That section is a motherfucker. Because you think, okay, I'll go left, I'll take out the Arachnotron. And then something comes from behind. You think, all right, I'll go right, I'll take out the Revenant. And then you get taken from the middle side. It's a tough section.
You know, I think I figured it out why that level is so hard. I think it's the depth of field that's in that level. It's almost like hard to see what's going on.
You can't see shit.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tough level.
It's like this it's like this constant fog across your eyes.
Yeah. All right. So, any closing thoughts on the game?
You know, I really enjoyed being here, man. I appreciate you having me on, and I'm excited for what the future for this game is gonna lead to.
Amen. Yeah. But in terms of what you thought about the game, closing thoughts, conclusion.
I mean, I think it's a masterpiece. It's already in my top 5, and don't let the technical specs scare you away from playing this game. If you don't have an RTX card, you can always play it on PS5 or Xbox Series X or something like that. You know, just do whatever you can to just try the game out.
Yeah.
Don't let the text, and don't let anyone online tell you that or talk you into not playing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Form your own decision.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I agree. Awesome game. I absolutely love it, and looking forward to playing it more in the future. Can't say enough good things about it. Just play it already and see if you like it. Don't check YouTube.
Also, this goes to you and anyone else, give the soundtrack more of a chance.
Okay. I will do, bro. I'm sure they put a lot of work into it.
Finish. Yeah, it's really good.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
really good.
Yeah, on the next playthrough, I'll get the music volume turned all the way up. I'll put the sound
Nice.
effects down for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. With that said,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to get to bed. It's like past almost 3 a.m. now.
Oh shit.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's we had a good old chat there.
It's been fun, guys, and
Yeah.
appreciate anybody else that was listening and hanging out and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people were watching, but yeah, at least a few people watching, I think. So, and
I'll see you later,
I can re-upload this anyway. But yeah, all right, brother. I'll see you later, man.
Alrighty. All right, man. See ya.
Peace.